constructive discussion about decisions will always be part of football, but unfounded allegations have no place in our sport. Kalina's backed the VAR decision to disallow one of Egypt's goals and not get involved with one of Argentina's. He also insisted FIFA's referees can't be influenced by anyone, not even Gianni Infantino.
Meanwhile, France boss Didier Deschamps said he trusts the full team of Argentines officiating their quarter-final with Morocco tonight. Injured Morocco forward Ismail Saibari misses that game. It's live here on talkSPORT from 9 p.m. As Jordan Henderson returns to the England camp with a broken arm, Dan Burns told talkSPORT England need Henderson around.
He said he's up now, and hopefully there's still a part for him to play in the tournament. I know he'll do absolutely everything possible to sort of be there with the lads supporting.
England versus Norway is live on talkSPORT Saturday night. Sir Keir Starmer suggested a cheeky bank holidays on the cards if the boys bring it home. Man United want to build a new Old Trafford about 350 metres away from the existing stadium. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's team have acquired a triangle of land in the Wharfside area. It's still unclear what will happen to the old stadium, though. Turkey Al Sheikh has suggested Fury versus Joshua would start at 2 a.m. if it goes ahead at Wembley. That could be October-November time. He wants a big global TV audience for it. And in rugby union, fly half Finn Russell returns to the Scotland 15 for their Nations Championship game with South Africa in Pretoria on Saturday. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
An epidemic on the roads as drug driving offences overtake drink driving for the first time, and a government report finds disability benefits are not fit for purpose. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
England, Wales and eastern Scotland getting another hot one with hazy sunshine and light winds. Northern Ireland and northwest Scotland bit cloudier.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually...
Good morning, this is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 1 o'clock here on talkSPORT. Where the football's back, Andy. I've missed it so much.
Oh, I know. I'm going to
really missed the football.
Me too.
So what did you watch instead? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
I will tell you.
After you've told us what's coming up.
Coming up over the next 3 hours. Alan Pardew on Elise, Pref's Unconscious Bias, and the Newcastle Exodus. The personal football coach to Messrs Madueke and Balogun join us in the studio. And we'll look ahead to what should be a very entertaining quarter-final between France and Morocco.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. We'll also take your weird and wonderful places where you celebrated a win or a goal. And the perennially, quite hard this time of the morning, angry West Ham and England fan, Tom Rennie joins us live from Miami.
He makes me look like I'm quite mellow.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, quite balanced and considered in your football takes, yeah.
There's all this, plus commentator Sam Matterface joins us for a chat, as does Adrian Durham. We'll speak to the England fan who took a White House tour and ran into the president. That's
yeah.
really interesting, isn't it?
Sure that's a bonus or not. It's 4 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Sorry, no, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jacobs. Still haven't quite got into the swing of it 3 weeks in. Only another week to go, and then I'm back in the afternoons.
Marvellous.
Right.
Yes, I mean,
Crack
honestly, I was bereft last night. No football.
Did you?
We've all watched a minimum of 2 games. Some have watched more since June the 11th. And you just get used to the rhythm of it being on and being
football
on. And being, you know, you think at first, oh, God, how am we going to watch 100 matches? But afterwards, you think when there's no football, you really miss it. I watched Bake Off the Professionals.
Okay, was there any football in it?
No, not quite as exciting as Argentina or Egypt. Although 4 of the sugar constructions showpieces did collapse before judging.
Did the Egyptian contestants say it was rigged?
Exactly.
Somebody had got their meringue?
Yeah, they don't have VAR in Bake Off, funny enough. Honestly, well, it's good to see Egypt have taken the defeat so well, isn't it? What a great sports
It's not. I mean, I don't think it helps. I mean, we're going to talk to Alistair Howarth about this later. I don't think this helps African football. I don't think what we saw in AFCON does either, because the football is fantastic. The players are fantastic.
You know, it was a wonderful.
You can feel sawn off. You can feel like you've not had the rub of the green. But do you have to take it to the sort of histrionic levels that we were saw? And we saw Scaloni had no involvement in the refereeing of that game. No. As he goes off the pitch, he's being berated by their coaching staff. I mean, what's the point? I mean, to be honest, Argentina over the years have not been the greatest at accepting defeat. And had it been the other way, it probably wouldn't have been not a lot different.
No, we would have been.
But I mean, look, we'll have a chat with our African football correspondent a little bit later on. But you could kind of do without the histrionics and.
Honestly, at the FIFA though, why would you give France officials to a set of Argentine officials to a France game?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just asking for trouble. Like, why not give them the other game?
Yeah.
Because if you give them this game and it goes against Argentina, or it goes for Argentina rather, against those French, against Argentina, people are just going to go, well, that's not right, is it? It's just, you're just asking for trouble. We all know they're beyond corruption and all that stuff, but still, don't give yourself problems you don't need. That's mad, I think.
We're going to play something now. If you're watching on Connect TV or on Smart TV or on YouTube, Andy spotted this on was it on Instagram?
Instagram, yeah.
It's a bus driver. Is he in Buenos Aires?
Buenos Aires, yeah.
Bus driver in Buenos Aires who was working during the latter stages of that game. And obviously all the customers on the bus are listening to the match as well, because he's blaring it out across the bus and nobody seems to mind. And it's the moment where Enzo Fernandez scores the winner. So all you really got, if you can't watch it, is just a picture of a bus driver and the customers in the background. So let's play it to you if you can watch. If not, just check out the audio. Bus is driving down the street.
Taking both hands off the wheel to celebrate. Stop the bus.
The bus driver has stopped the bus and he's now celebrating with the 7 or 8 customers who are on the bus. Yeah, still back in his seat, realises he's going to be late into Cemetery Gates, and then takes off driving again. But to watch a bus driver pull over, go absolutely nuts, and start hugging 6 of the customers on the bus is a joy. Yeah, so that's what football does to you. So let's have some of the weird and wonderful places where you've celebrated a win or a goal, maybe with other people who were listening along or knew exactly why you were celebrating.
The Taj Hotel in Mumbai for me.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was Chelsea playing Arsenal. It was the middle of the night, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Wayne Bridge scored that goal that knocked the Invincibles out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
I just went screaming across this whole very posh hotel.
The Taj, that's not very good, is it?
3 o'clock in the morning, celebrating.
Did you get told off?
No, not really. I was a paying customer.
I'm trying to think of mine, really. It's anywhere weird. Oh, yeah, one of the funniest ones with you. We were working at the Edinburgh Festival many years ago, and there was a guy doing his show called Ben Moore.
Oh, this is such a terrible show.
Ben Moore, they were quite quite a sort of ethereal, quite different sorts of very gentle comedy, Ben Moore. He wasn't, he wasn't like front foot. He wasn't Tim Vine, put it that way.
No.
He would tell a story in a beautiful way for an hour. And we went along and saw him.
Yeah.
And Andy was listening to a lunchtime kickoff for Chelsea. I think it was a Saturday at about 1:30 or something he was on in Edinburgh. And then Andy's sitting alongside me and Ben Moore's doing his thing. And suddenly Andy goes, "Yes." Well, that was a really good gag. A few people did look round and thinking, that moment didn't really deserve a yes. So tell us, we've already had a few in. Stephen says, my weird and wonderful place. The Take That Circus tour at the Etihad when Belinda Carlisle was performing, singing Leave a Light On as England scored the winner against DR Congo. Few people have that. I mean, I would imagine a lot of people went up, Steve, at that point in that one. Phil from Worley. Starved of football for 24 hours. I watched the much-missed Rick Mail documentary, which is very good
I've seen
on
it.
Sky.
Very, very good.
Thoroughly recommend. No football, but my God, that guy was funny and would have been a great shout for an inspiring pre-match
speech. It's a lot better than the Katie Price documentary.
I mean, obviously, I never met or had any dealings with Rick Mail, but our good friend Spencer Millman, produced Man Down, didn't he?
It features in the show. There's Greg Davis's
sitcom, and Spen always says that he was just an absolute joy to work with and a lovely man.
Exactly, very much so.
25th anniversary of The Office.
Yeah.
And everybody's been sort of celebrating that quite rightly. Now, we were very fortunate. There's been some talk today in the papers of the little 20-minute promo that was put together by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, which they just sort of put this little idea together so they could show it to the Beeb. And we were working, our friend Phil Bowker was working with Ricky Gervais at the time on some ideas at Avalon, the company we were working for. We were making stuff in telly. And Ricky would sort of occasionally sort of pop in and have a chat, wouldn't he?
Play cricket.
And in the corridor. And he told us that he put this 20 minutes together. And he said, I'll bring the tape in. So sure enough, he did one day and left it with us. And I remember us going in afterwards and saying to him and Phil while they were having a chat, it's brilliant, mate. It's so good. They should just give you the keys and just let you get on with that. That's got to be a series. It was so good, that little 20 minutes. Some of it did actually survive and make it into the series. I mean, quite a lot of it, actually. But it was, again, just an amazing performance. So I was quite surprised to read today that a lot of senior people, really good comedy people with great judgment, said, yeah, it's good, but I'm not sure that he's the lead.
Yeah,
I think we need less. I think we need less of the Brent character.
Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't
it?
And there was quite a lot of people at the B who were like, "Yeah, I think we need to make a proper pilot. We're not sure."
I had the same thing with Stato.
Yeah,
Stato
doesn't work. You were told.
Yeah, it doesn't work. He's not an actor.
Yeah, okay.
He obviously isn't an actor.
Well, I mean, not everybody gets everything right, but anyway, congratulations to Ricky and Steve Merchant and everybody involved in that, because I think it stood the test of time, isn't it?
Really? It has. Now you're like this.
Yeah.
This is a brilliant from Football Boffins. I don't know how they've come up with this. England will have to overcome the world's deadliest striker to keep their cup dream alive, Footy Boffins say.
Yeah.
A spokesman said Manchester City star Haaland was a clear leader when it came to shot effectiveness. Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
I could have told you that. We don't need sporting boffins.
No, that's very true. I was once at a Vamps concert. We've heard of the Vamps. Bit too modern for you two, he says. I've got kids, they like the Vamps. And just before they came on, England were given a penalty against France at Qatar 2022, and the cheers came gradually. Then one person in the crowd shouted, "Oh no!" Then the concert went silent. It was the worst concert ever. Oh,
sorry.
The worst concert ever. Sorry, Vamps fans, if you're out there.
Tremendous. They put that on the posters.
Yeah, weird places. Watch a goal penalty shootout. 96 taking. Was it? I better read that again. Oh, it's Jill again. Oh, that's because she's cabin crew, one of our creatures of the night. We'll come back to that. I'll read it properly. Thank you, Jill. So we're going to look at tonight's game, which I think we're all looking forward to. You kind of sense it's going to be France's toughest test to date, because Morocco are a very good side. I was reading some quotes from Ocean Roberts, their former Wales coach, who was working for Morocco about 5 or 6 years ago, sort of development officer there. And he said it's only a matter of time before they're sort of top 10 in the world. I mean, they really have trained on as a team. They're fantastic players, and it's a great setup.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't be, if France lose tonight, you wouldn't be massively surprised. But, you know.
I just think they're legit. But still, we'll have a chat with Alistair Howarth, our African football expert. Alan Pardew will be weighing in on Elise, another former Palace man. We'll chat to Alan in a few moments' time. Noni Madueke, Florian Balogun, lots of players have personal coaches these days that work alongside the coaches at their clubs, and we're going to chat to the man that looks after those two guys and more.
I do as well. I have a personal radio coach I work with when I finish.
Wow, he needs sacking. Blimey.
I knew I was going to get
Imagine that. Sam Matterface will join us. Adrian Durham, lots to come then over there. And keep telling us the weird and wonderful places where you celebrate a goal or a win off the back of the Buenos Aires bus driver and his customers, having to pull over and dance around the bus and give them a hug. 03717 223344, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet to TSH and J to get in touch this afternoon. But Alan Pardew up first. We're here, as always, with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
management inside out. Tuchel might just be the 1% difference.
He might well be, but what I'm saying
between winning it and not winning it.
I need to make this really clear. I am not questioning or doing him down. I'm trying to give you a balanced view of how I see management.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it yet. You're only ever judged on what you end up winning, not whether you could have won it. Brendan Rodgers, apart from the slip, would have possibly, very nearly could have won the Premier League.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But they don't judge him on the fact that if he did win it, he did win it.
Until England do it.
That's all I'm saying. And I want him to win it. I want the country to win the World Cup.
But the bottom line is this, and we will never know if Tuchel had been in charge of England at Wembley that night, in the European final against Italy. You have ended up winning it.
I was there, by the way. I was there. You know, you
changed it. So Simon's point is right. Is it not, Sean?
The whole world is watching. Even the most.
You change it and you lose, right? You didn't know what you're doing.
Change
it and you win. You do know what
you make a decision.
That is the life.
No. You make a decision. We all know you live and die by decisions. But when something's coming on top and the whole world's watching it and going, we need to change something. We need to change something. We need to change something. Okay, we haven't changed something. They've scored. Now we're going to change something. They've scored. Now it's easy to be a Monday night quarterback. We all know that, right? But the bottom line is that my inherent belief is the reasons why there's elite managers and there's the reason why there's good managers. Right?
None of us have ever had a bad game in here. Simple as that. A bad game.
So you're not football
when you're on the sidelines, and you're under pressure.
Oh, he's coming alive now, Mr. Dyche.
That's when the truth is, really.
But Tuchel will only be judged by when those moments come.
Yes.
They haven't come against Ghana.
Which is fair. That's exactly fair.
But when they do come, I'm willing to bet you that Tuchel's credentials and the elite gene that I think that he has, which is the reasons why he's managed PSG, Bayern Munich. Yeah, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. Of course, don't be so bloody stupid.
I've got a ginger gene.
Well, yeah, you've got many genes, I suspect.
I have flat genes.
Ill-fitting ones, most of them, I suspect, yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Good morning, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Sad news coming in that Bonnie Tyler, the Welsh singer-songwriter, has died aged 75. She had huge global success after those early hits from her first album. She had about 3 or 4 hits from that first album in the 70s, including that one, It's a Heartache, and then went on and became a big global superstar.
Holding Out for a Hero. I think it was used on American football, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a great shame. I think that we'd heard before she'd been really ill, but sad news coming today that she sadly died, age 75. Simon Jordan and Jim White will be with you from 1 o'clock this afternoon. They'll be building up all the live football today. Andy and Benty from Miami, ahead of England against Norway, and we've got France-Morocco live tonight, of course, and Adrian Darren will join us for a chat later on. But now it is time for this.
Duracell's Extra Mile on talkSPORT. Different, better, unstoppable.
Normally at this point, we look at the players that last night or overnight went the extra mile, and they brought a game-changing performance, an unstoppable power, much like the good Duracell battery, of course. But we can't do that because there were no games overnight. So Alan Pardew joins us now, and we thought we'd sort of open things out a bit. Morning, Alan.
Morning, fellas.
We thought we'd ask you of your player of the tournament so far, the ones that have sort of stood out for you.
Oh, wow. There's been some, fantastic performances. I think when you look at this, you always look at the big hitters. And I don't think it was any surprise to me that some of them fell short of delivering. Ronaldo, Modric, for examples. But, we've had a couple emerge. Jamal has shown flourishes. Haaland, of course, and our own Bellingham. But I still, when you look at it, across the board, what Messi is doing at his age is just phenomenal. He really should be in that same category as Ronaldo and Modric, but he isn't. He's way above that level, and he is performing far greater than I expected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, I would go with the world's greatest ever player.
4 years ago, you looked at him and you looked the way he kind of played with it. He was still very effective, but like as Andy says, he was taking his dog for a walk and suddenly he'd pick up the pace a bit. But 4 years on, you never imagined. He actually looks sharper. He looks better than he did 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I mean, he obviously won the World Cup last time round. I think he's just one of these unique players that doesn't really need to fit into the modern era of be all and end all of defending and attacking. He obviously doesn't do any defending. It's just not part of his criteria. He'll press for a period, and that'll be it. So, to actually have the talent, the offensive talent, over all these years to warrant not having to work for the team is just incredible, really. And not just this Argentinian team, but the team 4 years ago and over the years have generally quite accepted that. And there's been no pushback, which you often get. I've had offensive players. I think of Zaha, for example, at Crystal Palace, who was pretty brilliant at defensive work. And they're at such a level. They win you games that the pushback doesn't come from the playing squad. They're quite happy to do the work for him.
We had an idea though because he can't take penalties. That's obvious. He's missed half the ones he's taken in the World Cup. We thought Enzo Fernandez could sort of knock it up and then he could volley it in. I think that might work.
Well, like an Ernie Hunt. I think Alan's old enough to remember
Ernie Hunt situation.
Willie Carr.
Yeah, that's it. Roll the ball on the spot, and then someone comes in and smashes it in.
Yeah. Well, it didn't really work with Perez and Henry, did it?
No, it didn't really.
But, would you take him off of pens, Alan, if you were the manager? Would you dare? Would you do that?
I'd probably have a coffee with him and sort of say, what are you thinking about penalties at the moment? Yeah, one of those. See what he said. Yeah.
I think, I don't know how you feel. We'll ask you about your favourite game. I just thought the Argentina game the other night was just sensational. Argentina, Egypt, because you've got skin in the game with England. It's hard to enjoy them because you're.
No, it was a brilliant game, the England game.
But that match the other night was just sensational.
Yeah, I preferred the England game, and the reason being that the Egypt game left me with a bit of a bad flavour because of the great goal that Egypt scored and then got ruled out, and the ending, and it all got a bit of a kerfuffle. Everybody's sort of angry, and there's fix in the building, etc., etc. So that just took away a little bit from it. But I take your point. What an outstanding game of football. Two great teams. But I would go with the England team, the England game in Mexico. I just thought the fans' behaviour, the way we got acknowledged at the end by the Mexican fans for our work and our commitment and the respect that was made between the two sets of fans. And I thought that just topped out what was a great performance.
Michael Olise has been one of the stars of the tournament so far, and we get to see him in action tonight. Obviously you've still got your Palace connections, Alan. It's been some story, and your Reading connections as well. It has been some story, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember him at Reading, and he always had outstanding technical talent. But obviously sometimes when I see him, when he went to Crystal Palace and started producing, these match-winning displays, he certainly looked a class apart, really, in a very good Crystal Palace team. But you're still not sure whether the big step to one of the big clubs is gonna launch him to another level, or maybe be too much for him and find himself out of the team. And obviously, it's been the opposite. He's grasped it, going to Munich, and wow, what a player he's become. He's got a super uber confidence about him to try things that other players can't even technically do. So he is one of the players of the tournament. He's been put into that number 10 position, which really sort of seems to suit him in this French team. And he's got a great kind of character. He's very level-headed, I think. When he's playing, he doesn't seem to get emotionally involved too much. And that is always really important for an offensive player. You look back to Gaza and Maradona, for example, where fighters, they would get emotionally involved in the game. That sometimes affected their performance and, made them do things in games that put them at risk of being sent off or, a problem for the team. But at least he's the complete opposite of that. He never seems to get involved in any kind of shenanigans, just looks to produce quality on the pitch.
Well, he mustn't tonight, because if he gets a yellow, he'll miss the semi-final if they get through, because he did get a very cheap yellow in that last game under a lot of provocation. I mean, I think they were talking about...
He bashed himself in the face.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Trying to make it look as if
very disgusting. Alan Pardew's with us. We want to talk a bit of Newcastle with him. It seems to be a bit of an exodus, if you believe what we read about Bruno today. And also something Alan touched on there, maybe unconscious bias for the big sides in refereeing and other matters besides. Alan Pardew with us. But for now, that was Duracell's Extra Mile.
Duracell's Extra Mile on talkSPORT. Different, better, unstoppable.
I can't believe they're moaning about losing.
No, you're right.
They're moaning about the decisions, and I've seen all the interviews after the game.
Right.
And can someone remind them that they were winning 2-0? Yeah. Like, you've only got
what is their? I mean, the goal that wasn't given, and it was at 1-0 at the time. What an unbelievable goal! It was one of the best goals you'll see in the World Cup. Team goal down that right hand side, and I think who was it that was fouled? Was it Martinez that was fouled? I can't remember.
It was over in the far corner.
It was in the far corner. Anyway, whoever it was, right? He does step on his toes.
Do you think you should go back to it?
I think the fact that Argentina didn't actually regain possession of the ball and it was a continuous attack, I think on that occasion, I think it's fair. I think it's a foul.
I know, but so much has to happen.
Yeah, but Argentina...
so much has to happen. He skipped past 3 Argentina players.
Nutmegged
one of them. And you kind of look at it and go, hold on a minute, right? All right, that is a foul over in the corner. But he's run the length of the pitch, skipped past 3 Argentina players who can't make a tackle. And then they put one across the box and they score. And you go, hold on a minute, you've had 3 opportunities to win the ball back.
Yeah, they have. It was
so how much advantage do you want?
Well, there's no law.
Maybe if you skip 1 tackle. But he's run the length of the pitch.
Right,
yeah, come on. I don't hear what that's fair.
Do you know what?
I have got an issue with it.
Do you know what? I absolutely hear you loud and clear, but we both agree it's a foul.
Yeah, okay, but then Argentina might as well just stop playing.
Total football, tiki-taka, the Gegenpress, ways of playing the beautiful game that have defined eras. They're all, of course, team styles, but there's one player who invented an individual position which no one else has been able to play since. A man by the name of Franz Beckenbauer. His role became known as libero, which means free in Italian, because there was a similar position well used in Italy in the late 50s and early 60s. But he refined it and made it his own. Now, when I say he was a sweeper, you're picturing him marauding in front of the backline. But Beckenbauer covered the entire pitch. He was like Alan Hansen, Claude Makelele and Paul Scholes, all in one. Despite his success at club level, though, Beckenbauer was told to play as a more traditional centre-back by the West Germany manager Helmut Schön at the 1966 and 70 World Cups. After years of begging to be set free, Schön relented, and in 1974, Beckenbauer had the tournament of a lifetime. His libero role was put to the test when he came across this lot in the final with their total football. West Germany won, and Beckenbauer had this moment of pure joy. His style hasn't been replicated since. Players have tried, but it's testament to just how good he was that no one's even come close.
You'll always remember where you were listening. You will always remember what you hear.
Mbappe, 25 yards out! Magnifique! Arise, Kylian Mbappe!
To be here to see that is special.
And Unahi tucks it away, and Morocco are surely going through. Here's the chance, and there's the goal for Spain from Miguel Merino. And Romelu Lukaku, super sub again. A wonderful performance by Belgium.
Harry, your country needs you here. You've got to put this away. Right-footed, he has!
We're in an iconic stadium, and this has been an iconic match.
What a famous day!
Back to Erling Haaland, left-footed shot! He's picked up the corner!
I'm proud. I'm proud of my country.
It is in! It is 2-2! It is Messi! This is the spirit of World Cup winners. So Fernandes! Oh yeah! And Vargas does it, and Switzerland roll on to their first World Cup quarter-final in 72 years.
Yes, we've reached the quarter-final stage. Get us underway tonight live on talkSPORT. 9 o'clock kick-off between France and Morocco in Boston. We'll build up to that a little bit later on. Alan Pardew, former Newcastle Crystal Palace manager, is with us. We're going to come on to Newcastle, Alan. Unconscious bias amongst refs. You talked about that nasty taste in your mouth after the game. It's seen a great goal by Egypt ruled out, and that's the kind of feeling. And you, something at the back of your mind says, I mean, we saw Messi get away one in the first game that easily could have been a red card, and it could have really shaped. You know, he could have been out for a match. It would have changed the narrative. Do you think the big clubs? Did you used to feel when you were managing clubs that maybe weren't as big as some of the opposition that you weren't getting the rub of the green?
Yeah, I certainly sensed it when I worked in Bulgaria and Greece, let me tell you. There were certain pressures on referees there. So I think, worldwide, you can't take your eye off the ball and say it doesn't happen. Does it happen at this level? No, I would suggest not. But do they sort of subconsciously have a leaning towards the bigger nations or the bigger clubs? You know, when you play at Manchester United, for example, Old Trafford, is everything going to go your way? Are you going to get the lion's share of the calls? Of course you're not. you kind of programmed yourself and your team to accept that you'll get, a small share of the decisions and hopefully the right ones. But, when we have Infan Fix-It in charge, I have more problems with him after the game about, what he's opened a real Pandora's box situation with this decision about the American player. So therefore, for example, we get to the semi-final and Messi gets, he's going to miss the final. He wins the semi-final against us.
You know what's going to happen.
Is there a decision that he will play in the final? Well, of course, they'll make something up, or he will. So that is a major issue that's come out of this World Cup, and something that not just me, but a lot of people are very, very angry about.
It'd have to be that delayed red, of course, because they expunge them. They don't want players missing finals. So tonight is the cut-off, really. I mean, Montiel's the only one who's on from an Argentinian point of view.
There are 17 players. Yellow cards,
including Elise. We got 4 boys. O'Reilly, Declan Rice.
Someone's going to miss.
Mark Gay and Jude Bellingham that could all miss the semi-final were they booked tonight. I mean, as a player and a manager, there's not much you can do about it. You've got to go out and play your game. I mean, someone like Jude Bellingham and stuff plays on the edge. If you play up the back or your Declan Rice, that can always happen. There's not much you can do about it, is there?
No, there isn't. You can just slightly mistime something. I remember a couple of times I've had players really close to missing massive games like semi-finals and finals, and sort of just hinted to them, look, just be very, very careful. Definitely do not pick up any kind of booking with a referee in terms of verbals or, gesture. That would be a massive error. But you just got to play normal. And of course, as we've seen many times, these players are so quick, just a little toe away from your tackle, and it can lead you with a yellow card and miss the next game. There's nothing you can do about that.
Absolutely.
Newcastle?
Yeah, we should talk Newcastle because they've lost Tonali, they've lost Gordon, and now with their stories that, maybe in the aftermath of going out the World Cup when you're chatting to your agents is probably the best time to make those sort of knee-jerk decisions like, I think I want to leave and go to Arsenal. It may be that he's just looking for an improved contract at Newcastle. I don't know, but the optics aren't great from a Newcastle point of view and from Eddie's point of view, are they? Because you don't want to be losing 3 big players over the summer.
Paul, listen, when I was at Newcastle, when those big clubs make the call, regardless of what your feelings are or how much you progressed at Newcastle, it's always difficult, particularly foreign players, to not go with the historical club. And they put you under enormous pressure. I remember I had Demba Ba, and he wanted to go to Chelsea, and he made it very, very clear in a conversation with me that he was going. And when I say a conversation, it wasn't kind of a two-way conversation. I didn't really have any input. He literally told me he was going, and I knew it would be just actually, it would be counterproductive to try and keep him. He was never going to play for me exactly the same way again. And I did it. And I did on the opposite side of it. I said to Kepai, who wanted to go to Arsenal, that you're staying. He sulked for a long period where relationships stayed pretty strong. But, there were still moments, when he doesn't play well, you're half kind of guessing, was it because I stopped him going? So it creates a problem for you. I just want to go back to where Newcastle are right now, because I think that's probably more relevant. And that is that I feel for Eddie Howe up there because he lost Anderson because of the rules. He's lost a world-class midfield player. Now he's losing the midfield that was possibly, you would argue, the 3 best midfield players as a trio in the Premier League. Maybe 2 years ago, not so much last year. But I do feel that it was time to break it up. So in a way, I think Eddie is probably going, okay, let's get the maximum we can for these guys, Tonali, Gomares. Okay, they're not going to stay, and let's go and rebuild and try and give us a new, fresher look. So I think it's kind of a double-edged blade there for Eddie. As I say, I think that team did need freshening up. Last year, it looked like it was playing within itself.
I mean, it'll be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. There's been a bit. Somebody's mentioned 60 million, but I mean, Newcastle fans have been telling me you spent 100 million on our second best midfielder.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, it's
going to cost a bit of money.
It's probably going to, somebody pushing, 100 million.
Anderson and Tonali have inflated the midfield market. There's no question about it.
I mean, that position has become.
And last night, guy, yesterday, the Santos' transfer.
Yeah.
A player probably you wouldn't be first pick in that Chelsea team.
He isn't. I mean, I'm surprised they've gone for him, really, because he's a good player. He's a good prospect, but he didn't set the league alight last year when he came in. He made mistakes that led to goals. He missed chances.
Yeah.
He's obviously got something about him, but he's not the finished article. I'm quite surprised.
Maybe he's one of those players, Santos, that they've looked at him. Michael Carrick's looked at him. He's one of those that, with a run of games, with a bit of rhythm, can become a very good player. And he's not really got that at Chelsea, has he, Andy? He's not got regular football.
When he has had regular starts, he hasn't really made the best of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, I think Andy's, spot on there, but I would say he did actually put in 3 or 4 performances, which I was like, wow, he has definitely got talent. And I think that's what they've gone for. They've gone for, look, this is a potential. He's a very young player. We can grow him. So in a way, I suppose, when you look at Manchester United, what they've done in the past, it might not be a bad signing.
Do younger players these days get a bit more impatient? I mean, you must have experienced that. We've got it with Bergvall and Vuskovic, who both want to play football. They might not necessarily get the amount of games they want, maybe a bit like Santos. So they want to get out. And you don't really want to sell them. But ultimately, like you said, if people don't want to be there and they're making that clear, I suppose you just got to get the best deal you can, haven't you?
Yeah, or you take a different line. I remember at West Ham, when we had Mark Noble coming through, I knew straight away that if I didn't play him, someone would come and get him. So I literally played him even before he was even ready. I think sort of 17, 18. I can't remember his exact age, but that's the call you have to make. If they are sitting on the bench, then it's a problem. But then again, every player who's not playing is a problem. And, the players who are 33, 34 are far harder than young players.
Yeah.
Literally, banging on your door and, demanding to play. But, I think it's important when you've got powerful agents pushing young players. They are more of a problem than the young player. They're in the chairman's ear. They're sort of damaging the manager. Look, he's not good enough. This manager's got no faith in him. We got to move him on. That is where the real pressure comes, I think.
And it's interesting because Chelsea got to ship out, and Spurs and a lot of clubs have got to get rid of about 6 players. You do wonder what it's like coming back to the start of pre-season when you've got so many players there, and some of them aren't even going to be there.
Yeah.
But you somehow can't ignore them from day one. It's quite a tricky situation, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't think it is really. My experience when I come back, the squad is sort of assembled, and really and truly, because you're just getting fit at that period, you're not sort of doing tactical work. It really is kind of, how was your summer? How's the kids? Where did you go? Yeah. What experiences did you have? Right, let's work really hard today. Oh, Gaffer, I need to talk to you about my future. Well, yeah, okay, I know there's a bit of noise. Let's just work together, and that'll sort itself out. So this period of pre-season, it isn't such a problem. It's when you get to the end of the pre-season, when you're trying to establish what your team is going to be, and you've got a potential 1 or 2 going, or ultimately even worse, when the season starts. All managers moan about the window should shut before the season starts. You put your team out and then you lose your best player. That really is hard work.
Just finally, Alan, we don't speak to you before the Norway game. You're confident?
Too many England.
You think we're going to get it done?
I am. I think, as I said to you before, just do a job on Odegaard, stop him controlling the game. Make sure Haaland has less than 3 touches in the whole game, and we should get there. Yeah.
Thing is,
I'm looking
3 goals.
That's a hat trick, though, isn't it? In Haaland's isn't it? 3 touches. Yeah,
it's definitely get 2 goals. But I just genuinely feel that the momentum we've gained from Mexico with the fans and the media and everywhere where we are at the moment, we're very, very going to be very, very difficult for Norway. So sometimes it's good to put the other hat on. How are they going to cope with us? That's better way to look at it.
Yeah, that's it. Let's let them worry about us. That's very true. Well, Alan, enjoy the game. We'll catch up with you next week, I'm sure, for all the fallout. Thanks very much for today.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's Alan Pardew, former Newcastle and Crystal Palace manager, of course. And Alex Crook and Troy Dean are in New York for a gloriously chaotic World Cup daily episode. Cowboy Crookie. So you buy a hat and suddenly you're a cowboy.
Ridiculous. Nobody's ever
He takes on the big
a hat more.
He's the only bloke, apart from John Voight in Midnight Cowboy, no one has worn a hat for that long in New York. He tried a bit of karaoke. I bet that was fearsome. He told us about his hot wings. Yes, the lads also take stock of the World Cup so far. And Troy's done a piece in the Sun today saying, I still haven't seen anything from England. I'm still not sure. He is just honest. He's just being honest.
I suppose so. It's his view.
He can be mealy-mouthed about it. He can say, just get behind the lads. But anyway, I'm sure he'll be talking about that with Crookie in the podcast.
They played well the other night.
The World Cup Daily available on all podcast platforms now. I think we have high hopes of Morocco tonight. A brilliant side with great players to go toe-to-toe with France. Not sit in the low block. Probably. I don't know. Let's find out. Alistair Houth, our African football expert, is going to map out the game. He's got most of those right. When we said how the team's going to approach this African sides, he obviously knows his stuff and he has told us. So what can we expect from Morocco against the French tonight? We'll find out shortly. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
The Egyptians afterwards were shouting "fix."
No,
not for me.
I was confused. All the outrage.
Yeah,
I don't think it was 2 fouls that they're saying weren't given. I don't think they were fouls.
No, I didn't.
McAllister on the edge, and then the Salah one. I didn't think they were both fouls. I feel like the Sandro Martinez, there was 2 fouls. There was a shirt pull, but it was more for me. If you look at it closely, it gets caught on his right, like sort of Achilles.
Yeah,
so there was like 2 fouls on Sandro Martinez.
From a footballing perspective, you didn't want that Egyptian goal to be ruled out because it was brilliant. But I saw why it was. I thought the McAllister, contact was fleeting with the Egyptian inside the box. Was nowhere near the ball either.
Salah either.
And Salah was
like
Salah was looking for it.
Exactly.
Don't blame him, but I thought he was looking for it. And Egypt should look at themselves. They're 2-0 up. Yeah. They're 11 or 12 minutes away. Well, a bit more than that with added time. They had an unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah.
And they just...
You've got to hang on, haven't you?
Grasp it.
I'm sorry, though, Jeff. Watching the game, mate, this is the difference when people try and compare Messi and Ronaldo. It's not about Ronaldo, but in one of his quietest games, he still turns up, Lionel Messi. Yeah. Very quiet first half. When his country, his nation needs him, forget about the penalty miss. Anyone can miss penalties. He turned up, gets on the ball, gets the first assist for Romero. And then if you look at the second goal, Jeff, he's literally, I've seen the close-up clip, he's screaming for the ball, give it me, crosses one, blocked, crosses it again. And that finish, do you know how hard that finish is, Jeff? That is not an easy finish. To keep that down, to even relax and not just come sprinting forward like most players were. Honestly, this guy, no words for him. And even forget the goal and assist. How many little runs did he have?
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com. grand in your hand, courtesy of talkSPORT Win.
So we're building up to England's massive quarter-final on Saturday against Norway. England have... Sorry, not England, have probably more than that, but talkSPORT have £26,000 up for grabs. That's right, 26 grand in cash, completely tax-free. Is it coming home? Well, it could be for you if you enter. Here's how, Andy.
For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or send your name and number by post to Comp1, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. For your chance to text WIN.
Win.
Not for your chance to text.
Don't you have to get a chance to... It's not fair, is it, really? Go on,
text
spell it out,
WIN
Andy.
to 83338 right now. It's a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksportwin.com.
Based on Andy's reading of the T's and C's and all the info, I'm guessing the people upstairs in charge of this competition say, we don't see a lot of entrants from H&J. I don't quite know why. Maybe they're not competition people. Maybe just Andy garbling his way through an address and saying you've got to text in ridiculous ways. Anyway, we asked you about the weird... There's brilliant footage that Andy dug out of an Argentinian Buenos Aires bus driver and his half a dozen passengers at the moment. Enzo Fernandez scored the winner against Egypt, going absolutely nuts on the bus, having to pull the bus over so he could dance around the bus with them before he took off again. So we're in wonderful places where you have celebrated a goal or a win. John says, watch the Villa win the European Cup in a garden centre in Preston. I'm an HGV driver who ran out of driving hours, so I was stuck there for the night.
Oh, right.
So he's outside the garden centre watching it on his little telly in the cab. Blimey, poor old John is a Villa fan there. We had a couple of weird and wonderful. Labour Ward for firstborn, says Taylor. England winner v Wales in the Euros. Was asked to leave and to consider where I am before returning. Bet you're in trouble with the gaffer there, Taylor, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I was at 30,000 feet, 2018 World Cup against Colombia, halfway through our flight home from Crete when the captain came over the speakers and let us know that we'd won on penalties. The whole plane just erupted, says Sam on the beach in Torremolinos. Clearly gets around. And we've had some really good ones from you. So keep those coming.
Why does he book holidays during the World Cup?
Here's your wait, it's nice. You can sit on the beach, watch the games in Spain. It's only an hour out, isn't it? Matt says, I was at the last night at the proms at Ripley Castle. Oh, what about that?
Right, me.
The night England beat... he's written it in Old English. He's spelt beat, B-E-A-T-E. I don't know what he's doing this for. Maybe he just deals in Old English. The beat 5-1 was with my mum, and the last time he got to go out before she sadly passed away. Oh, that's a sad story. See. But the conductor kept giving us the scores. Imagine that.
That's good.
It's 1-0. Carsten Janker. Not, yes. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? And we're looking forward to the game tonight between France and Morocco. And as we said, Alistair Houth, our African football expert we've turned to before a lot of the big games, is generally called the approach of the African sides. So we thought it only right we invite him back today. Hi, Alistair.
Hey, guys, you all right?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke to you before Egypt, Alistair, and I was just saying earlier on, there's so much respect and love for African football and the players that play in it. So many play around the world and play in the Premier League and beyond. There was a lot of love for Egypt, who was so unlucky, put in a brilliant performance, scored some wonderful goals. Yeah, and maybe did get a few calls that didn't sit quite that easy. But the level of fallout, the histrionics, I don't think helps. I don't think it helps attitude sometimes, very outdated attitudes towards African football, but it feeds into a narrative, unfortunately. I don't know what you think as somebody who's kind of across the continent watching football.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say, because I think in many ways the Egyptians felt very justified in that they were treated really badly. Look, I was there in the stadium and you could really feel a sense of the kind of weight of the Argentinians on the ref. There was a lot of stuff off the ball where the Argentinians were having niggly fouls on the Egyptians, and a lot of that where it was, nothing egregious, but a lot of it kind of going against the Egyptians. And look, I think a lot of it wasn't helped by the antics of Donald Trump and the Folarin Balogun situation, and that the idea that kind of we were almost primed to have a bit of a fallout in the exact same way that we saw at the AFCON. The AFCON, it was very similar. Morocco were getting a lot of very small 50-50 decisions their way. the way that CAF dealt with that, very similar to FIFA, didn't kind of address it properly, and it led to these conspiracy theories, which eventually led to the Senegal team walking off the pitch. And I think look, we also have to understand that Hossam Hassan, the head coach of Egypt, he has a lot of previous for this. He is, to put it kindly, a bit of a nutcase. Brilliant legend of Egyptian football.
Kindly. He was very kind.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many stories of him. He once assaulted a photographer and had to face a suspension from that. There was one time where Egypt, I think, were playing a friendly against, I think it was Lebanon, where he started a fight in a friendly with the Lebanese players. The police came on the pitch with one, and then one raised his rifle, and his twin brother Ibrahim, who's his assistant coach now, went and actually grabbed the rifle off the Lebanese policeman.
Wow,
so like these two have previous for this kind of stuff. They are bold characters, to say the least. But yeah, I agree with you. It certainly doesn't help Egyptian football in the sense of kind of keeping level heads, but actually the Egyptian national kind of media and fans have really bought into it. They're extremely proud of this team and extremely proud of the way in which they spoke up after the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
They played great, but in the end, it was a foul leading up to the goal. It probably wasn't a penalty on Salah.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those moments when you wish VAR wasn't there. Certainly. So let's move on to tonight. Saibari's missing, which is a real blow. And the other thing is, we were talking about the yellow cards earlier on.
We've got cheese on the brain after that story we heard.
But Morocco have got some big players on cards, and were they to make it through, that would really, including Issa Diop and Hakimi, etc., El Kanu. So they're going to have to tread carefully tonight, aren't they, in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Saibari. That is a tremendous loss. I think that the even bigger one that we're waiting on is Chadi Riyad, the Crystal Palace centre-back, who has been so important for Morocco as a left centre-back. He's been a fabulous introduction to this team, having not really played before this World Cup. Kind of, he was in the AFCON squad but didn't play a lot. And he picked up a knock ahead of the Canada game, missed it, and has been back in training. But there's a lot resting on him because the guy who's come in for him, Redouane Halhal, is a very talented young centre-back, but he's a right-footed centre-back. He's not comfortable playing on the left, and we saw that against Canada. So I think while Saibari is a big miss, and Sofiane Rahimi has come in and played well in his place, but Chadi Riyad for me is the big one. If he is fit, they have a chance. If he's not, it's going to be a long night.
So finally, I'd say, how will they approach it tonight? What sort of game are you expecting?
Yeah, look, I think it will be a game in which they want to take the game to France. I don't think they want to press very high because I think this French team has, shown that they can be so devastating on the break. And that's where Morocco are vulnerable. When Hakimi is, high up the pitch doing what he does so brilliantly, that's when the gaps appear. And so I think what they'll try and do is kind of what Canada did to them, actually, is block up that midfield, really try and dominate the central zone, stop France from getting the ball to Mbappe, to Dembele, because I think once you get the ball into Olise and Mbappe and Dembele, you're in trouble. So I think that's the way they'll approach it. I think they'll be very proactive, but I don't think it's going to be an exciting end-to-end game. Morocco don't want that. They want to try and control the game. They want to keep it slow, and they want to kind of drag this game out as long as they can.
Let's hope for an early goal then.
Well, it does. I mean, as a neutral, you'll be screaming for an early goal to open it up. But so we could be in for a long night. But Alistair, as always, thank you very much. Enjoy the game. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
Alistair Howarth there. So, as we said, he's kind of given us the blueprint for the way teams are going to play, the African sides are going to play in all the other matches, including DR Congo last week. So, listen to what the man says. We'll bring you that one live tonight, of course. Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon, and one of the breakout stars, I think, from a talkSPORT point of view, Mark McGee. I was talking to Jim White the other day. It was, I think Mark's been great. He's got a touch of the Chick Murrays about him at times.
He's funny.
He is funny, in an incredibly dry way. So if you've not heard Mark's commentaries, then go and check one out tonight. They're a lot of fun. So that's France. Apart from, of course, the fact he knows a hell of a lot about football, having played at the top level and coached. But France-Morocco live on talkSPORT tonight. We're going to have a chat with Adrian Durham a little bit later on as well. But we'll get the sports headlines for you next.
Rank your three wind-up merchants on talkSPORT. Who are the top three? I would say you've now took the crown. It used to be Durham.
Right.
Durham was the wind-up merchant king of talkSPORT, wasn't he? You are now number one. You do realise that, right?
I don't wind people up.
What do you mean?
Okay, what have I done recently?
You wore a Mexican outfit and done Has Anyone Seen Mexico? Guacamole and pinatas and...
There's no Mexico.
You can't tell me you're not a wind-up merchant.
Not Jay.
You've got...
No, I get a bad rap, mate.
What do you mean? You've got a cowboy hat on?
No. I do get a bad rap, though.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to remind you of another one.
Go on.
Every time Scotland played, you had the other team's jersey on.
Yeah, that was bad luck. That was really bad luck on my part.
That bad luck was it?
Yeah. So they played Haiti, right? The first game they played Haiti. I said to the bosses, I'm going to put my hand in this bag and I pull out a shirt. The first shirt pulled out happened to be the day before they played Haiti shirt. So I've got to go through with it. Next one was the Morocco. Well, I told you, mate, I spilled tea all over my coffee or whatever it was.
So you don't think you're a wind-up merchant?
No, I'm just unlucky.
What about the Ange mask?
What about it?
Well, I'm just giving you examples of you winding people up.
Well, how's wearing an Ange mask winding people up? Who's getting wound up with that? Some of those are bad luck. Some of those I've had some cruel luck, mate. That coffee incident, mate. What can I do? Yeah. And now the Brazil shirt. What do you want me to do? I had to.
Amongst other things in the next hour, I think I'll be able to reveal who Count Binface, prospective MP for Clacton, of course.
Well, we're hanging on that.
Who he supports, which football team. That may not put you off voting for him. But anyway, we'll bring you that in the next hour. But first, Nick Ellaby has the sports headlines.
Talk Sport.
Thanks, Paul. Looking forward to that. Good morning. FIFA's refereeing chief Pierluigi Collina has defended World Cup officials from claims of favouritism. It's after Egypt's players and coaches said serious mistakes were made by VARs in their defeat to Argentina. Collina says his referees cannot be influenced by anyone. Iraq's assistant coach René Meulenstein told us it's the inconsistency that bothers him.
When VAR gets involved, when they're not getting involved, we all saw the Morocco against Argentina game, and you look at it and, you know, I think it would be 50-50. 50 people say, yes, he stepped on his foot and he held his shirt. It's a foul. 50% would say, come on, those happen all over the pitch.
Meanwhile, France boss Didier Deschamps says he trusts the Argentine team of officials placed in charge of their quarter-final tonight. Injured Morocco forward Ismail Saibari misses that one. France versus Morocco is live on talkSPORT from 9 p.m. Now, it's suggested Dan Burn could get on again for England against Norway, live on talkSPORT on Saturday night. That's because Erling Haaland has only managed to score once past him.
But I do enjoy playing against Erling, purely just from a physical point of view. Like, I quite like that sort of physical battle, and I get on well with him on the pitch. Like, we do get on quite well, although you'd have to ask him if he thinks the same thing.
Sir Keir Starmer suggested we'll get a cheeky bank holiday if England manage to bring it home. Meanwhile, the FA now want to arrange a friendly with Mexico at Wembley. They say a bond was created between the two sides in the Azteca. Man United are planning to build a new stadium on Wharfside, 350 metres away from the existing one. It's still unclear what will happen to Old Trafford. And Turki Al-Sheikh suggests AJ versus Fury would start at 2 a.m. if it goes ahead as planned at Wembley. He wants the US TV market watching the all-British heavyweight fight. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Singer Bonnie Tyler has died at the age of 75, and a government review has found a key disability benefit is not working for millions of people. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
England and Wales and eastern Scotland getting another hot day. Hazy sunshine, light winds. Northern Ireland and northwest Scotland, though, a bit cloudier.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand.
Good morning, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. The quarter-finals get underway tonight. France versus Morocco at 9 o'clock live on talkSPORT. We'll continue building up to that. Eric Bilderman will join us later on.
Building up with Bilderman.
Build up with Bilderman. Well, that's the new section. Let me just knock out a jingle on that front. It's Build Up with Bilderman here on talkSPORT.
Yeah.
Adrian Durham's going to join us for a chat. We'll talk about those 17 players on the yellow cards. It gives us a chance to use the word expunge.
Love a bit about expunge.
You never get a chance. I mean, in any other walk, there's certain words you only ever use in football. Purchase. I mean, unless you're the purchase manager of a business or something. But you see,
or little purchase.
Yeah. Whenever do you ever say he got very little purchase? You never say that, do you, in anything but
really,
football. No. There's so many words like that. Anyway, we'll throw a few out as if you like today. Talksport.com, text 81089 tweet.
We don't like them, we'll expunge them.
Yeah, we'll expunge them. I mean, I can't think of many opportunities to use the word expunged apart from a yellow card. We're going to have a chat with the England fan who went on a tour of the White House while he's over there watching the World Cup and ran into the president. Not so bad.
And you say that.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just something to tick off, isn't it? And we're going to chat to Saul Isaacson-Hurst from My Personal Football Coach. A great many players, many of them at the World Cup, including Moni Madueke and Florian Balogun. Yeah, exactly. It is early in the morning. Yes, and Antoine Semenyo have all worked with Saul, so it'd be interesting to talk about that and how they work with the clubs. That's the thing, isn't it? Can you imagine some of the coaches of the clubs will want to monitor what they're doing on a personal level? And the always angry West Ham fan Tom Rennie is out in Miami for the match, and we'll be catching up with him as well. But Andy, in the meantime, shall I tell you, John Harvey, who is Count Binface, of course, looks like he will be taking part in that Clacton by-election against Nigel Farage, is a Spurs fan.
Is he?
I'm told on very good authority. But he actually went to Palace. I think he went for a whole season because Nick Ellaby, when I put that question to him off air, said, isn't it Palace? He did go to Palace. There's a lovely story that I think was in the Big Issue a while back where his brother passed away at a very young age, and they had a great relationship, and his brother was a Palace fan, and he felt to honour his memory that year, he took his season ticket on and went for that season and kind of put his club loyalties aside to watch his brother's team. It's a beautiful story, I think.
It is. Last year, though, he went to Tottenham, who was known as Count Binfire.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right, and I wouldn't have disagreed with that. That is very true.
All changed now, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lawman, whoever he might be, has written.
That was Dennis Law, wasn't it? The late great Dennis Law.
This isn't the late great Dennis Law. You'll see why in a sec.
Okay.
All in capitals, so I can't be bothered to shout it or anything. As Erling Haaland is a UK resident born in Leeds, why does he qualify to play for Norway?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. These people are brilliant.
You just remind me of the great Dennis Law. I mean, talking about Mark McGee in the Chick Murray envelope, I went to a FA tribute night to Dennis Law. And that was the night that my wife on the dance floor stood on. She danced with Ray Clements and then she stood on Sir Alex Ferguson's foot.
Really?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Did he give her the hair dry?
Well, I don't think so. It was fantastic because she didn't have to go into the toilets and do her hair again. It was swept back. But Dennis Law got up to do a little thank you speech, but it was really funny.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "It's been weird. I'm not a top table kind of person. I'm not the sort of person that is very comfortable being honoured like this." He said, "On this top table," he said, "I don't know anybody. I've had to spend the last 2 hours making small talk with this terrible woman."
Oh, no.
But he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
It was done with this real kind of glint in his eye, and she was laughing away. It was just, it was brilliant. He did about 5 minutes, and he was he was sensational. Well, we've got fond memories of Dennis Law coming in here. Do you remember when he came in with us?
Yeah.
When his book was out, and we had that. He played in the Rest of the World versus England game in the 60s, and he'd lost his shirt. And I read the book because the first thing I said to him, I said, "I've read the book." Then he said, "Oh yeah, I bet you have." I said, "No, I have. I've read it because you're a big name."
I know.
So and we got the good people at Toffs to find that Rest of the World shirt that they did, and it was an extra large. And we said, "You'll be all right. You'll grow into it." But anyway, I think we've gone on a bit. We've gone down a bit of a Dennis Law rabbit hole. Sorry
young
about
hair,
that.
you used to say.
Incredibly young hair. What a player as well. Anyway, Andy, get back to all your nonsense. Sorry.
Yeah, all this nonsense. What have we got here? Did you do this thing yesterday about the travel company that have offered Norway striker Erling Haaland 10 free holidays a year for life if he takes the first one on Saturday?
Oh, really?
It's quite cheeky, isn't it?
That's a nice idea, yeah.
I think he can afford his own holiday, so I don't think that's going to be too tempting to him.
The Argentinian bus driver who celebrated with the customers when the winner went on. We look weird, wonderful places. You celebrated goals and victories. Cricket World Cup, says James. I celebrated with a few strangers in a service station on the M6 just after the Super over. I could tell they were cricket fans because they all had headphones on just like me. So we all jumped up and started celebrating. So let's have a few more of those. talkSPORT.com, text 81089, tweet to TSH&J. Richard in Newcastle was on a building site in Canada during England-Colombia when we won on penalties. No one had a clue what was happening while I was shouting and celebrating. So, let's have a few more of those. 03717223344. talkSPORT.com, text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J.
I should finish with a quick letter from Brian Linford. He's been so active during the World Cup. I can't even read them. They're so terrible, they're not even worth reading. But here's one.
I'd like to see Brian Linford sitting next to Gianni Infantino in that royal box. Yeah.
With Ian Owen from Wallington telling Gianni exactly what he'd just seen.
Yes, exactly. Yes, some of your favourite letter writers.
Anyway, Brian says here, enjoying our TV terrestrial World Cup ITV shows could disappear behind a paywall within a decade after ITV sold media /entertainment to Sky for 1.6 billion. Imagine paying for Corrie. Enjoy your W Cup. Honestly, Brian.
Yeah.
The World Cup, it'll be there. It's a government thing, isn't it? It's a protected show.
It is.
Protected event.
It is a protected event, absolutely. So Tom Rennie's going to join us for a chat. As we said, Saul Isaacson-Hurst joining us. Was coached at Madueke, Balogun, Semenyo, Sarr and others at this World Cup. Adrian Durham joins us for a chat. Build Up with Bilderman, our new feature, ahead of France, Morocco. So that's all to come. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J, 03717223344 to get in touch this afternoon. We'll look at all the odds. We're about MGM shortly. We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
Michael Owen, in his Daily Mail column, has decided, I think, to take a bit of a swing at how we have reacted to that Arsenal Freudian slip there. That England result the other night. And he says, let's not confuse drama with quality. England must improve. He's basically dismissed the calls that it was brave. He says, I think we mistake what bravery in football is. We are celebrating players throwing themselves in front of shots as if they have gone to war. And he offers his own interpretation of bravery, which is real bravery is wanting the ball when 80,000 people are willing you to make a mistake. It's showing for possession when everyone else is hiding. It's taking the ball off your mate when he's in trouble, knowing if you lose it, you'll be criticised. That's football bravery, and that's what England need more of if they are going to win this World Cup. In the context of how it made this country feel as well, this feels like quite a miserable take. I know that we need to start looking ahead to Norway and the improvements that we need on the pitch, but for the moment,
100%.
I think
let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate. It's Wednesday.
I totally disagree, Michael Owen. I feel that players in that atmosphere, you know what I mean? Everyone's talking about the altitude. You've got 80,000 Mexican fans. I think it is heroic in a way of you getting on the ball, Jude Bellingham getting on the ball, Dan Burn throwing themselves up in front of shots, doing that for your country, knowing how much football means to this country, People are going through a tough time. It's not the best state at the moment of the country. And those players, I think, like, hold themselves in a high manner, because that's what you want to see from your team. How many times have we been in tournaments where, oh, you're playing against Mexico away. Oh, okay, we don't want to turn up. Oh, you know, some players crumble. Every player, even the subs that come on, they perform.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live. Matt Ford's joined by Brad Friedel, former USA keeper, and comedian and Palace fan Chloe Petts to unpack the round of 16 and look ahead to England-Norway. Matt reveals that he was responsible for leaking the story of Keir Starmer's involvement in keeping England's kick-off time to 1 a.m.
One of this week's winners, Keir Starmer. The outgoing Prime Minister obviously needed a victory, and we're going to give it to him. He reportedly played a big role in ensuring England's clash with Mexico remained in the kick-off slot that it did, acting via diplomatic channels to ensure it was done without a fuss and showing how political intervention should be done. And I can reveal on this podcast, actually, it was me that asked him this question. I was at Downing Street the other night for a reception marking the 48th anniversary of the NHS, and I just sort of asked him, I didn't realise there were reporters there. And I just said, is it true you got involved with FIFA? And he said, yeah, England had said they didn't want the kickoff time moved, partly for the fans, partly for the players. So they picked up the phone to FIFA, and there was someone from the Press Association there that overheard. And then on the way out, someone said, did he say that to you? I said, yeah. So there you go.
Did you ask him about whether he's going to get Jarrell Quantz's red card overturned?
I did not ask him that. I didn't want to push my luck.
So, How to Win the World Cup available now wherever you get your podcast and on the talkSPORT World Cup YouTube channel.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Yes, Alex Licence from BetMGM has joined us in the studio with all the odds. Alex, Keir Starmer also pushing potentially for a Friday bank holiday if England win the World Cup. But we've got a fair old way to go yet, haven't we, really?
We have, yeah, that'd be nice though.
Yeah.
What would be the point of having it on a Friday if you win on the Sunday?
Yeah, but you can't call a bank holiday Sunday night for Monday, can you?
No, but Tuesday you could have a bank, if they're doing it.
What's the difference between a Tuesday and a Friday? Sorry, Alex, what's the difference? You'd rather have a Friday because it's a long weekend, isn't it?
Well, I'd rather do it.
You haven't thought it through. You're talking rubbish.
No, I'm not.
Thank you, caller. That was Andy from Chiswick.
No, because when they go to Trafalgar Square and they do all that,
yeah,
not they're necessarily going to be doing this, getting ahead of yourself there, really. But say it happens.
Okay, that'll be on the Tuesday, will it? Oh, sorry, Alex. Let's crack on. France versus.
Will it be on the Tuesday or the Friday?
I'll mark it up for you.
Okay, France versus Morocco then. Alistair Howard just told us that it could be a long old night. It could be quite a cagey game. Don't expect toe-to-toe in a goal fest. What are your punters saying?
Yeah, well, to be fair, we are expecting goals tonight, funnily enough. France, they are the top scorers in the tournament, 14 goals so far. Obviously helps when you've got a certain Kylian Mbappe in your side. Might have a little bee in his bonnet as well. He's slipped to second favourite to win the Golden Boot now. He's been first for a while, but Messi scoring the other night. He's now favourite at 11-10 with Mbappe 7-5 behind him. It's a seventh meeting between France and Morocco. Obviously, a repeat of that 2022 World Cup semi-final with French winning 2-0. But I'm expecting, I think Mexico will give a good account of themselves. I expect them to cause France some problems. The first African side to reach back-to-back World Cup quarterfinals in history. Sort of won the African Cup of Nations, let's say. And they currently, if you include that, they're on a run of 36 games unbeaten.
Yeah, they've got a very good side. So it should.
Can you see the Argentine ref giving Mbappe a red card so he misses the semi-final?
Oh, yeah. It's an interesting, as Andy said, it's a strange appointment. You put yourself under pressure, don't you, really?
I did have a chuckle of that. Was it all 4 officials were Argentinian?
Why would they do that?
So,
I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine, but if it isn't, they're bonkers to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything live on air, but that was a bit dodgy the other night, wasn't it, with Egypt?
Well,
we've just done it.
I think
you said it for me then. Yeah.
That's right. We're just good job we're not on air, eh?
I don't think so.
So England, Norway. As we get ever closer, are the punters getting sort of are they weighing in on England? They're getting more bullish.
Yeah, we are seeing a little bit of movement. I think especially after that Mexico game, it's given us a bit of a renewed confidence. After obviously scraped past Congo, didn't we? But I think that sort of united the nation a little bit, didn't it, in terms of that performance? And I'm just hoping that we've not got really, really excited on the back of that, only to get knocked out in the same week. I was looking at some of the stats, and no country in football history has been eliminated in the World Cup quarterfinal more times than England. So it's 7 exits at this stage, but on the positive side, 13 competitive games unbeaten now under Tuchel. We know a lot about the Norway side. Obviously, 9 of them are in the Premier League. How much that'll help, I don't know. I mean, we're stating the obvious a little bit here, aren't we? But it's about how we nullify Erling Haaland.
I think it's increased the trust in Tuchel, that performance, the way they went about the game, the way they managed that first 20, 25 minutes, took the heat out of it. I mean, they managed the crowd, managed the atmosphere. And the altitude, they did a lot of good things, and I think people are thinking, okay, I kind of get it now, because after DR Congo, there was a little bit, there's been a bit of doubt about him throughout. Are we any better really under him than we are Gareth Southgate? Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, but he said, didn't he? You'll see the proper England side at the knockouts, and game management were brilliant against Mexico. I mean, I will admit that last 15 minutes when Kane came off, I was thinking, if these score, we've got no chance in.
No, exactly. Well, I think we all felt that. We were done, weren't we?
He got it bang on, because Dan Burn heading everything, wasn't he? Jed Spence blocks off the line. John Stones did a job. So, yeah, like I said, game management, brilliant. And I think rightly so, there is some excitement around it. But looking at Saturday, what would you do in terms of that right back position or the defence in general? Do you?
Well, I mean, if you've got Reece James, you'll play Reece James.
He's going to finish 1-1.
Yeah.
He always does.
But you definitely play Reece James if you can. If he's fit and he can get through.
He's not fit. He hasn't even trained. He's not. I followed Reece James all his career. If he plays Saturday, I'll be delighted, but I'll be amazed.
If he's not, though, are you playing Spence at right back, or maybe you go in, put Stones in, as you got Stones and Gay?
I don't know, I'm not the manager of England, so
if you were, though, what would you do?
I'm not. So no point asking me. I haven't got a clue.
Well, thank you, caller. Are you more interested in bank holidays than you are football, let's be honest, and the right time to have them? Bank holiday Friday. Andy will come to work that day in protest at the Friday bank holiday. So, England-India, T20. I mean, we can't quite believe what happened in the last T20.
More about that.
Yeah,
where India got 76, wasn't it?
76, yeah.
76 all out for India. That was a shocker, wasn't
England have played well.
Yeah, that was India's biggest ever international T20 defeat.
Wow.
So yeah, England 2 up with 2 games to go with Bristol tonight. I mean, I know for us cricket purists, the white ball isn't as important as the red ball, is it? But it's nice to have some positivity around England cricket.
Good point.
And you look at the record now, 18 wins in 21 competed games, ignoring the washouts. So, I mean, I thought England were brilliant in that game at Trent Bridge. They fielded well, they bowled well, in contrast to India, who
it's what we said, wasn't it? Off air, McCullum should be the white ball coach, and they need a proper coach for Test cricket because he isn't that. So it's obvious, and I expect eventually they'll do it.
Yeah. Can you read too much into Harry Brooks' captaincy in this, or is it too early? Is it all on that Pakistan series and see what he does in the Test?
It's just so different, captaining a team in 2020 and captaining a team in a Test match is utterly different. Skill set, So I don't know.
Who could get it long term though? England wise, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, they'll give it to him. So
I think this regime will give it to him, and maybe, as you say, the T20s might quieten down the noise a bit. We'll see. Excellent. Alex, thank you very much for popping in.
Thanks, guys.
We'll catch up with you soon. That's Alex Licence there from BetMGM with all the latest odds. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
You know, the idea it's a clear tournament has been fixed. I think that's a bit powerful. Let's have it right. Because at the end of the day, if you were fixing the tournament, you'd keep Brazil in it, surely. You're fixing the tournament, you try and keep them in it. If you want worldwide viewings, and advertising and money and all that and revenues and fixing it for the right reasons so the superpowers are inside the competition.
Well, we can evaluate the stupidity, but we can dissect the stupidity of individual statements, but we're talking about the premise of what
I don't think that's stupid. I think it's harsh. I don't think it's a stupid comment. I think it's just in the moment. It's got wrapped up in those billions of people.
Stupid comment. You can't run around saying...
Simon, there's billions of people.
It's an uninformed, uneducated, unsubstantiated, with no empirical background behind it. Because it's an uneducated view. You can't tell something's fixed unless you know it to be factually the case.
No,
so
I just said his emotions run riot.
But it's a stupid comment because it's not seeded in anything. So what the argument is about and debate is about is whether people should be able to say these sort of things and whether the consequences of it should be far-reaching. And what we're talking about is how people should operate.
I think Simon's right in this one, is he not, Sean? It is clear this tournament has been fixed. Then that guy boards a plane and flies back to Egypt and goes unpunished. I mean, my God, that is conspiratorial.
No, I totally agree. It's too powerful. That part of the statement is too powerful.
Yeah.
The rest of the referee's not fair. We've all said that in different variances down the years. The injustice was clear. I mean, look, the argument going back to, the facts of it as a manager, forgetting that last part of the statement, which is powerful, and you can't forget it, I understand, but let's just, for our question and answer here, forget it. The injustice is the foul, isn't it? They're going, why are you bringing it back to that foul? Why are you allowing that foul to create such a moment in a game and bring it back for their goal? The goal that was disallowed. But
the irony of it is, if you interviewed a referee, right, and a referee went out and said, these clowns are unfair, the players cheat, the managers harass and abuse us on the side, they'd be outraged.
We've all seen one of these before, right? The old heavy leather book. No, not that one. That one. Used in World Cups and football as a whole for years back in the day. It's a far cry from modern balls made from synthetic materials, full of sensors for VAR and goal line technology. So when did the switch happen? Up until 1970, it was generally the rule of thumb that the host nation would provide the ball. The balls were always made from leather, usually with a vulcanized rubber interior, the same stuff they make tennis balls from. But in rainy and muddy conditions, the ball would absorb loads, and it was like playing with a brick. In 1970, Adidas were tasked with creating their first ball, and they came up with this icon, the Telstar. Despite its new, sleek look, it was a handful for goalkeepers and pretty unpleasant to head with. So in 1974, Adidas came out with the Telstar Durlast, the first synthetically coated ball that would be resistant to water and mud, and generally wouldn't wear as badly. The next major breakthrough came during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, where Adidas placed an alien-like sensor in the middle of the ball, tracking every touch at 500 hertz to aid referees in offside decisions and handball calls. But in essence, it's the same ball developed by Adidas over 40 years ago.
kämpers födeland. Lord Nelson, Lord Beaverbrook, Sir Winston Churchill, Maggie Thatcher, can you hear me? Your boys took a hell of a beating.
England have beaten Mexico in the Azteca. They've now got Norway in Miami in the quarterfinals. Bellingham again, and he scored again! It's 2 in a minute!
2 in the middle now, swept in towards Haaland! Erling Haaland, you beauty!
Score 7 goals for Norway in the World Cup is quite special.
Beware England, beware Erling Haaland.
Kane on the turn! Oh, what a goal! Unbelievable support!
We will go now full steam ahead to keep pushing and stay in the tournament.
Harry Kane's best Sean Dyche impersonation, isn't it? He'll never be able to do that again.
And very nice of Jason Cundy to do that trail for us, that Norwegian.
Yeah, his Norwegian's better than I thought. The current Lord Beaverbrook, I wonder how he feels about it. We'll try and get him on. I wonder if he's in England, I'm guessing not. Anyway, Tom Rennie is out there. Tom often joins us to talk West Ham and more here on talkSPORT, broadcaster, podcaster on Sirius in the States. He's gone out to Miami for the game. Hello, Tom.
I think you'll find I'm the current Lord Beaverbrook.
Oh, okay. Well, I wondered who it was. Lord Beaverbrook. It's a great win for getting a mention all those years on. So, have you got a ticket, Tom? This is the important thing.
I have got a ticket, and you'll be delighted to know I'll be in the hospitality section for the game. So I look forward to trying to get hold of some of the free food before Alex Crook gets there.
Yeah. What does a hospitality ticket? I mean, if a bog standard ticket's going for about 12 grand,
good point.
I mean, you're not going to ask. You're just going to get there and just feed
He's got
your
serious connections.
Feed your face. Yeah,
Yes.
you've got to be serious about it. That's very true. Yes.
It's not really a question of what it's going for. It's more a question of how much I begged to get it. And I did everything that was asked of me, and therefore they're going to allow me into a nice lounge with some nice sponsors. And so I'll keep the drinking to a minimum until they tell me it's free, and then all bets are off.
I can certainly see you being thrown out. You're a very angry man around West Ham. I'm sure you're the same when England are playing. So a pithy comment to a sort of not a big hitting Norwegian from American TV, and you'll be back on the streets of Miami, won't you?
Where I belong. I mean, it's funny. Even in the Mexico game the other day, there aren't that many Mexicans in Miami, but we managed to find a bar full of Mexicans for the England game, where I think I was one of only about 3 English people here. And it's really funny in that it doesn't feel like I'm in America right now. We went to a bar full of Brazilians for the Brazil game, for Argentinians for the Argentina game, which was somewhat rough. The Colombia game was full of Colombians. So it's really interesting that normally wherever you go in the world, when England are on, we are the sort of dominant force, if you like, bars, restaurants, even inside the grounds. I was chatting to some of the talkSPORT guys yesterday who were saying about the Azteca, England were outnumbered like 5-1. And that's sort of how I feel here. So I'm intrigued to see how the next few days go as the English fans sort of flood into town. And then we can all sort of indulge ourselves a bit more, because thus far, best behaviour, you know?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it seems the England fans have been behaving very well over there.
You're going to behave in America, aren't you? Basically, the way their police are.
But I mean, when drink is taken, people act like idiots. But it's good that they're not. I mean, we spoke to the head of football policing, Mark Roberts, and generally it's gone incredibly well. And hopefully, when the invasion happens, that'll be the same case in Miami, Tom.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Look, I think that what's really been fascinating, and we've been speaking to a few fans the last few days, and of course they've been on the station a lot as well, is that there has understandably and quite rightly been a lot of fear of sort of government overreach, and is it going to be safe for people? And I think those are all justifiable fears. And like the last couple of days, we've been doing shows on Sirius XM-FC with the USA being knocked out. So it's been a bit like a mausoleum here amongst the US soccer fan base for the last couple of days. But like, what's interesting is on the ground, if you like, in the country, in the cities, it has been really great. And it's almost like a microcosm of this World Cup, right? The World Cup has been phenomenal. There's been very little trouble. There's been loads of great games, loads of great events, loads of great stadiums. But what are we going to remember it for? Well, we're going to remember it for US government overreach, unfortunately, with what they tried to do and did succeed to blow Balogun. So, like, I think the news lines are right. I think the US government, it would be great if we never heard from them for the rest of this tournament. But I think the fear of that hasn't been realised in reality because, in general, people are all right, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we're all finding that during the World Cup.
I think that's very true.
You're a hard man to please football-wise, as we know, if people follow you on social media. So are you feeling quite positive about England going into this game?
Yeah, I think Andy sent me a message after the Congo game saying, "Are you not ever happy?" Which I quite enjoyed. It did make me laugh. And he's right. He's right. I'm not normally happy. Look, I do think that it's not been an amazing tournament for England, right? I think there was that amazing 20 minutes against Croatia in the second half where we thought, wow, we can rock and roll football this all the way to winning the trophy. The intensity, the chances created, we were all super pumped around it. We're all singing It's Coming Home down the streets and what have you, which, sidebar, everybody hates over here. So
everybody hates it. It's the most annoying thing, isn't it?
It's to be honest, it annoys me, but because I know it annoys them, I can't stop singing it. I don't know I'm a bad person. But in terms of like the way the World Cup has gone, like no one has been wildly impressed by the performance, lack of cohesion, not many chances created, struggle against low block. But I think all that narrative sort of goes out the window when you look at the other teams. France struggling against Paraguay, Spain struggled to create chances against Portugal, Brazil are out, Norway are through. Every game, apart from the USA crumbling pitifully against Belgium, which, if I wasn't here, would be very funny. But I'm not saying that over here. But no, we're taking it very seriously. But the Mexico game was tremendous. Like, it really was tremendous. To my mind, I know people have been speaking about it a lot, but I think the Jude Bellingham individual performance is up there with Paul Gascoigne against Scotland and Netherlands in 1996, some of the Wayne Rooney appearances in the 2002-04 era, Michael Owen against Argentina in 98. You know, there aren't many games where you can look at a player's performance and go, wow, that's your trademark performance for England. And we saw that from Jude Bellingham in the Azteca. You add that to the atmosphere, you add that to the sending off, you add that to the penalty, you add that to all of the circumstance around it. I don't think I could have been more impressed by that win. So it must have been good, because nothing impresses me. But that's I thought they were absolutely tremendous. Even Big Dan Burn coming on. And at the time, I was like, oh, my God, we're in trouble here because they've got a bunch of 5'4" nimble little players, and we're bringing on this giant muscular beanstalk. But even he does 8 clearances in the game. Just the only thing that could defeat England in the Azteca was the advertising hoardings. Yeah. Beyond that,
well, I'm quite shocked and stunned that you're so positive. And so I'm taking that. As a win going into the game.
Yeah. Doesn't bode well.
Yeah, Tom, appreciate you joining us. Thanks, enjoy the game. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Pleasure, anytime. Thank you.
There we are, Tom Rennie out there on a jolly with his friends at Sirius FM. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Marvellous. Of course, we'll bring you that game live. We'll be catching up with Adrian Durham. We'll be working that day, not jumping on the vol-au-vents. We'll catch up with Adrian later on and build up to the England game and indeed all these quarterfinals and some of the big stories around it. But you probably will be aware now that a lot of top professionals have personal coaches that they work with as well, and they talk about that. You hear players saying, I've been doing some work on that with my personal coach alongside what goes on at clubs.
I always thought it was fitness stuff, but it isn't, is it?
No, it's much more than that. Saul Isaacson-Hurst founded my personal football coach and has worked with Noni Madueke and Balogun and Semenyo and Sarr and others out of the World Cup, lots of other players. So it's going to be fascinating to find out a bit about the role and how it works alongside what they do at club level. He's going to join us in the studio very shortly. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
what did you think of Cristiano's performances at this World Cup?
Well, listen, to be honest, take away the performances. I'm just on because I'm annoyed at Gabby for calling him a disgrace, to be honest. I think it's bang out of order. I think what he's done in his career, he's earned the right to be there.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why?
How's he not earned the right? How's he not earned the right? He scored 28 goals last season. He's 41, Gabby.
So?
What age did you retire?
What age did you start playing professional football yourself, mate? Yeah, pipe down.
Me, mate.
Pipe
Don't
down.
worry about me, mate.
Don't go there, mate, when you haven't kicked the football in your life, okay? Settle down.
Brilliant, mate. I know what it's about.
Down.
Don't worry about that.
Settle down.
No, you're a disgrace for calling him a disgrace.
No problem.
Honestly,
No,
it's unbelievable.
Look, in fairness, Jack, we stood up for Cristiano. He said he had a wonderful, marvellous career. Nobody earns the right to play at a World Cup finals at 41 just because what you've achieved in the past. No one stops time. And you could see him last night. I mean, he was doddering around in attack. He could not raise a gallop. Time has caught up with him.
Jack still wants him started in the next World Cup as well.
Absolutely right. He's still producing. But there's loads of top... No, I'm saying Messi walks about, but he's still producing at the World Cup, which is fair enough, right?
Yeah.
But to say that he's not earned the right, he hasn't. He is a phenomenon.
But he's not anymore.
41 years of age.
But he's not anymore.
Unbelievable. You know how hard it is to keep yourself in shape.
But he's not anymore.
Jack, surely
it's not a modelling competition.
Jack, he'd earned the right to play.
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Good morning, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Now, personal coaches for the top players. You're probably aware that goes on, and players openly talk about it, saying, I've been working on improving that with my personal coach. So how do you become one? What's the route into it? What is the role? How does it dovetail with the clubs? Just a whole bunch of questions we're going to throw at our next guest, Saul Isaacson-Hurst, who is the founder of My Personal Football Coach and has been working with Balogun and Wakey and Semenyo and Ismail Assar and others. Good to see you, Saul. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, lads. It's a pleasure.
So let's first talk about, I mean, you worked in academy football at some top clubs. Is that how you kind of work this route into personal coaching?
Well, I actually started my career in America, did 2 years out there, and privates, as it were really big. So when I came back, I got my job in academy football. I was doing that like on the side. And then sort of, I was always like an individual skill specialist anyway. And then sort of just, made my name supporting players, getting them signed, and then decided to go and do it full time, basically.
So in America, with you having private coaching alongside what the clubs and maybe the kind of the federation do, the USMNT, it's not frowned upon. They kind of welcome it.
Well, at that point, it's very much grassroots. I was doing camps and local soccer clubs, and it was a big part then. So when I came back, I sort of brought it back with me and started a company. But then, it's like I started, like I say, getting academy players in, your reputation grows, then pro players could start coming in. And remember, my first year at Chelsea was people like Jamal Musiala and Tino Livramento. So you grow up with these guys. And so they they start to look for extra. Everyone wants to get better. It's the most competitive market in the world, and and I offer that specialism, something different that they maybe don't get.
How do the clubs feel about it?
Probably, like I said before, probably not their biggest fan. The clubs want to control everything. Look, we live in a multidisciplinary world, whether that's in the clubs with specialist coaching, but particularly outside clubs, players have their own chefs, physical trainers, mindset coaches. And my specialism is individual skill development. So, trying to support them into developing those skill sets, those actions, those game-changing moments, which ironically don't really get a lot of chance to practice within game or team environments because it's very much based on group possession, teams, rondos, tactics, and maybe there's just not the time.
Do you ever fear a player getting injured when he's training with you? Because then the clubs would go mad.
Yeah, I think you've got to be conscious of the loading and what you're doing. So, predominant amount of my work will be done in the off season, like now this time of year, but, we do see players within that. And, players will know what they've been doing that week. They're in charge of it. We always say to the clubs, look, we'll come and do it at your facility if you'll let us, and they're obviously not that keen to do that generally. But I mean, listen, the players know what they've been doing. You have to be conscious. You don't do lots of, for example, high intensity running. You have to monitor that during the season.
What's the method? Maybe it works both ways, but someone like Noni Madueke, will you say, I've been watching you and I think maybe this is something we could work on it, or does he come to you and say, Saul, I want to work on this because I feel I'm just maybe coming up short here?
It's a combination of things. So Noni came to me when he was a young pro at PSV. I knew of him, obviously, coming through to England, set up, top player, unbelievable talent, great mindset.
Because he was at Spurs as a kid,
He was at Spurs and went very brave to go and play in Holland to try and get the opportunity, which he did. And he came to me and lots of knew him. His super strength was cutting inside, a bit like Robin. And I said to him, look, we've got to work on those outside movements as well, so going both ways, if you like. So a lot of my work revolves around individual tactics, trying to, break down a game into those game-changing moments for that position, that profile, and really work on that. And, we worked intensively. A few weeks later, he had the Cruyff Cup, which is like the Community Shield in Holland against Ajax, big derby, and scored 2 goals, exactly what we worked on, and he was hooked. So to answer your question, it's a mix. Some players come and say, want to work on this. Some players just want to work on everything, a bit of a global workout, and obviously I'll try and add value to where I can.
With him, it's consistency, I think. I watched a lot of him at Chelsea. In some games, he was absolutely brilliant for 60 minutes, and he'd kind of fade out of it. And sometimes he wouldn't take a player on. Well, he's not the only winger. It's very common in modern football, isn't it, for a player to take the easy option. You see it all the time. Just you think, go on, try something.
I think he's still a developing player. He wants to get better. But you look at the Premier League, there's not many more direct wide players than Noni, and he wants to get better. He wants to improve. And he wants to be the best version he can be. And I think he's got some people have to hate him for some reason. So, everyone can get better.
He's a really, really good player.
I mean, he did take a bit of it. There was the old petition, the infamous petition at Arsenal, and people saying, well, we don't want him. That must be, you're working with a player. And, look, you're not his mental coach. You're working with him on his technique and stuff. But a lot of those conversations must feed into that as well.
I think as a coach, you are like a bit of a mentor stroke psychologist as well, and you're talking to them. And it was like water for ducks back, though. He's got such a strong mindset. He wants to be one of the best players in the world. You realise, you play at one of the biggest clubs, you're going to be open to that sort of thing. And he responded. He started that season last year as one of the best players and a great run.
Yeah, I can't believe it when he came back to the bridge and some fans started booing him. And you think, come on, mate, he didn't ask to leave. Chelsea did well. Semenya and Sarr, who you've helped, had tremendous seasons. So you must be delighted at that.
Yeah, great talents. Look, last year, Noni won the Prem, Semenya won the FA Cup, Sarr won the Conference League. So it's a good thing. But yeah, listen, all of those guys, it's a testament to these guys' mindset. A lot of people get to these clubs, they think they've arrived, where these guys know it's the start of their journey and they want to, it's about marginal gains. Can they eke a little bit out of it? Can they try and improve? And like I said, maybe I just offer something a little bit different to what's there at the moment.
Do you have regular contact with the clubs? Do you have good relationships with some? Do they contact you and say, it's always been working on this? How's this been happening? Do you work with them or not?
At that first team level, not really, because look, Noni's example, when we first went to Chelsea, he said, look, I'm working with Saul, we want to continue this. Yeah. Can we do it at the training ground? They weren't very keen, which is fair enough. They said, okay, but just, you can't do it here. So we don't. So, he has his own, these people have their own, they have their own physical coaches as well. They want to tell the loading. So I ask key question, no, I don't.
Mm.
I mean, I'd love to, but it's always open, but that's not at the moment.
There's not that thing about having a driving lesson with your uncle and picking up bad habits, is it? Is there that thing of them saying, well, we told him not to do that, but he's doing that with you and we don't want him doing it?
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, I think that's like we'll probably talk about in a minute. You know, it is a saturated market now. Every man and his dog is an individual coach, one-to-one coach. Obviously, my background's in, you know, elite football, 10 years at Chelsea and Tottenham. I consult now some of the best academies in the country. So hopefully they see my adding some value there.
Yeah.
But listen, I can understand it, you know, and players are wrapped in cotton wool, if you like, and, you know, the big commodities.
There's also a lot of insecurity in the world of football, and that's true of coaches at top clubs as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. Alpha males, everyone's got confirmation bias, believes what they're doing is the best. But, you know, listen, I just try and support the players in the best way I can do, really.
Now, one of your players, Flo Balogun, has been at the centre of a storm. There's nothing bigger, really, at this World Cup. And I know you've been...
You felt for him, didn't you? It's not
Yeah, you did. And the fact that he went to the Belgian coach afterwards and said this was not... He was at the centre of something he didn't want to be at the centre at. So that's probably not been easy. I know you've been keeping in touch with some of the boys, so he's probably gone through it a little bit at this World Cup.
Yeah, I just think it's a shame because it sort of took a little bit away from, his amazing performance, unbelievable, you know, performance of the World Cup, the first few games, 2 man of the match, some goals, and just the American team in general. They were like, it had such a positive vibe around them. They were playing attacking football. So yeah, that's what it was disappointing because it took away from him. He's such a great young man, a great mindset. Again, you know, wants to train hard, work hard, leaves nothing to chance. So just a bit of a shame. It sort of tinted that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've launched an app as well, My Personal Football Coach app. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, so My Personal Football Coach started as like a technical homework training portal for players and parents. How to train properly when you're training alone. Listen, I think youth football is mirroring first team football. Too much focus on tactics, group possession, not enough individual development. The current coaching courses the conventional coaching courses are game based, are group based. There's no individual technique in that. So that offers some individual trainers. So players who want to train away from training to supplement that. Started off as that, and then obviously now there's coach education on there. There's coaching courses for group team coaches. There's a one-to-one coaches course for one-to-one coaches like myself, aspiring coaches. And then now I support clubs as well. So Arsenal, Blackburn, Wolves, many other academies have used it in their academies as a technical training tool for their players to support their trades. And then I go into these clubs. I consult with a lot of clubs to try and help them with this as well, to try and get those. It's basically, we want to try and get those street football type outcomes. And it's not just about letting them play. That's a misconception because we don't have time. No one has time to do 4 or 5 hours on the street anymore like we used to do. So you've got to try and manufacture your sessions to get those outcomes, those skillful outcomes, create those players who are great on the ball, have that bravado and those game changers.
Well, Michael Elise, we've talked a lot about this World Cup.
Absolutely.
Someone who's like a sort of taken the essence of that street footballer and put it into the context of an elite team.
Yeah, well, the irony is, you know, France's best player is an English, you know, boy from Hammersmith who's a street footballer. That's a bit, you know, so ironic. But yeah, exactly. And you look at the French team, they're full of those players. You know, Paris has got one of the biggest hotbeds in football because they have that street environment, you know. So yeah, you know, that's at the moment is the level. That's what we should be inspiring to.
I think all legends of sport, when you read over the history of it, they've all done this extra training. Glenn Hoddle used to stay behind after training, freaky off.
Yeah, that's always
Larry
been.
Bird he wouldn't leave the court until he'd done 100 free throws.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely a part of being a great player.
Yeah, listen, I mean, so there's 2 things there. So now, ironically, you know, youth players are actually discouraged, or coaches aren't taught how to teach players basic technique. So we talked about Steph Curry or, you know, Ronaldo, all these players from all different ball-based sports. You know, you should be enough obsession with the ball to do whatever you want with it. So there's nothing to support coaches in doing that. So, you know, and like I say, maybe players might get 10 minutes extras after a session. But, you know, is there real specialism within that? Are they speciality coaches? Is that really around their position, around their profile, or is it with 6 or 7 or 8 other players? So that's always a challenge, I think.
Something else has been talked about is that quite a lot of clubs are taking athletes and turning them into footballers. Is that something that you've been involved with and seen?
Yeah, I think British football, probably say as well, it is generally quite, you know, focused on athleticism. John McDermott, my old boss at Tottenham, who's now head of England, used to say, you know, if you look at the national anthem, when they go across the team, the England players, all, you know, you get all these big units, and then any other country, you've got a big and a little, and, you know, Portugal, Spain, whereas maybe you don't have anything because there is a, you know, academies talk about, oh, can he get around the pitch? Can he do that? Where there may be in Europe, it's more about how clever they are, how good technically are, and then they give them a chance to grow. Whether sometimes, not all clubs, listen, some of them, but there has been a tendency in the past to say, look, if he can't get around the pitch at 7 or 8 or 9, then they're maybe not going to get him in, which sounds a bit ridiculous.
It does really, yeah. Too many players written off at too young an age. Well, so fascinating stuff.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you very much for joining us. Really enjoyed that.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So My Personal Football Coach app is available now. People can go and download it.
Download it. My Personal Football Coach app. If you're a coach, go to mypersonalfootballcoach.com. You can check out my new one-to-one coaches course, which is supporting young coaches everywhere.
Excellent. Saul Isaacson Hurst there from My Personal Football Coach. Good to see you. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Coming up in the final hour, Adrian Durham will be joining us. Eric Bilderman, our French football expert, ahead of tonight's game. Oliver Henry is an England fan who's been out there watching the World Cup. Did a White House tour and ran into the president. What was that like? We'll find out. And I think we're all sick of the weather here. I'm sick of the heat waves. We're going to ask Stephen Morgan when we're going to get some half-decent weather in the UK next. But we will, of course. We've still been on storm watch ahead of the game in Miami on Saturday night. So we'll get the latest on that. That's all to come in the final. Plus Sam Matterface joining us for a chat, of course, our talkSPORT presenter currently working for ITV out of the World Cup.
Trump, who I think I heard say at one stage he didn't know about the red card system, he still suggests
unfair.
That the referee at the heart of this, Rafael Claus, was a bit suspect. He's the president.
These were two great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past. I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. And I related just that feel. I didn't tell him what to do. I can't tell him what to do, but and I don't believe he made the decision. I think it was a committee that made the decision. All I did was ask for a review. I didn't say you have to do this. This man is a smart, tough man, Gianni Infantino. He's a smart, tough man, and his stock has gone through the roof because the job he's done has been great.
See, now we have the length and breadth of it, right? Now we know the full length and breadth of it, right? So now we know the full length and breadth of it. We can eviscerate it because it deserves evisceration, right? When you listen to that, you think to yourself, it's absurd. But again, it takes me back to the position. And Trump says absurd things, but no one disputes the fact that he says lots of absurd things. And that in the context of sport.
He's the president.
But people say lots of things. Lots of people say lots of silly things, right? But you'd expect him to say something better than this. But in a sporting context, he doesn't clearly know what he's talking about. But I tell you who does know what he's talking about is that snivelling sycophant that runs FIFA. He does know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And when you've got somebody that's running the game that doesn't uphold the values of the game and doesn't uphold the integrity of the game and then tells you that you're all stupid and there's nothing for you to see here.
Yeah.
Right? That's when people...
Lots more to come in the final hour of the show, but let's get the sports headlines now with Toby Gillies.
Talk Sport. Good afternoon. FIFA's refereeing chief Pierluigi Collina has defended World Cup officials from claims of favouritism. Egypt accused refs of serious mistakes in their defeat to Argentina. talkSPORT reporter Will Hobbs has been reading Collina's punchy statement.
He says nobody can question the integrity of FIFA's World Cup match officials, adding constructive discussion about decisions will always be part of football, but unfounded allegations have no place in our sport. Collina's backed the VAR decision to disallow one of Egypt's goals and not get involved with one of Argentina's. He also insisted FIFA's referees can't be influenced by anyone, not even Gianni Infantino.
There are Argentinians involved in the France match against Morocco in the quarterfinals, but Didier Deschamps says he trusts the team of Argentines officiating their quarterfinal. The injured Morocco forward Ismail Saibari misses the game. France against Morocco is live here on talkSPORT from 9. Manchester United want to build a new stadium on Wharfside, 350 metres away from the existing one. It's still unclear what will happen to Old Trafford. Ahead of England versus Norway, live on talkSPORT on Saturday night, Dan Burn is relishing a potential clash of the Titans with Erling Haaland.
If I'm asked to do that, I'd be more than ready and more than happy to do that. But obviously I also know that we've got sort of 4 other centre-halves who are also top-quality players and have played this whole tournament because of that too.
Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer has suggested a cheeky bank holiday is on the cards if the boys bring it home. And the FA wants a friendly with Mexico in the next 2 years following their World Cup Classic at the Azteca. Turkey Al Sheikh suggested Fury versus AJ would start at 2 a.m. if it goes ahead at Wembley. He wants a slice of the US TV market. And in rugby union, fly-half Finn Russell returns to the Scotland 15 for their Nations Championship game with South Africa. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The 80s legend Bonnie Tyler has died at the age of 75, and health officials have warned the heat wave is putting more pressure on the NHS following a rise in people being treated in hospital corridors. More with Sinead at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
That heat wave continues, although cloudier and patchy rain in northwest Scotland, which will last into the evening. Dry, clear and hot with loads of hazy sunshine everywhere else.
US football forecast on talkSPORT with QuickFit, a team selection that everyone would be happy with this summer. QuickFit, drive away happy every time.
So it is time once again to look ahead to the latest weather over in America, all thanks to QuickFit. And Stephen Morgan from Fox Weather in New York joins us. Hi, Stephen.
Paul and Andy, good afternoon. It's summer here in the U.S. and it's summer in Europe still, isn't it?
Oh, it's not.
Just a touch.
No, the thing is, we're not used to this. We're not used to this really hot, heat wavy, sweaty, horrible weather all the time here. We're having about 2 days of weather like this every year in August, you know. And here we are. We've got another week of this horrible, sweaty weather that everybody has to work through. So please tell me it's going to end soon, or are we in for an incredibly... I mean, I've thrown this at you out of nowhere, and you probably wouldn't be looking at the UK weather with any Fox in New York, but still, bring us some good news. We're not going to have a whole summer of this, are we?
Well, Fox has an international correspondent based in London, so we're keeping tabs. His name is Greg Palcott. We actually talked to him a couple of weeks ago during the first heat wave, and it does look like those temperatures over in the UK are going to be hot for the next few days. A really unusual pattern that we have setting up. I mean, to have one heat wave is something in Europe, and it's okay. But then to watch this ridge of high pressure is going to build in again for you guys. It's a problem. I hate to see it, and I wish that there was some relief.
Sad way. It's not looking good. Sorry, Andy. You're going to have to keep showing your legs to everybody for another couple of weeks, unfortunately.
Never mind.
So we're on storm watch for Miami Saturday evening our time for the big game involving England. I mean, as we get closer, do we have any more information, Stephen?
So it's an important time frame now because we're about 60 hours out from the match, because local time it's going to happen Saturday night at 5 p.m. So we've been paying closest attention to the rain chance. The storms will be around. The heat's also going to be around, but as we know, I wanted to show you and people who are watching, the rain, Miami Gardens or Miami Stadium is real close to the Atlantic Ocean. It looks like we will have storms to the west of Miami Stadium, but then at about 6 or 7 o'clock, so perhaps around halftime, we might start to see some rain try to fill in, and we could have some storms around Miami Stadium. You know how it goes. Right. There's a lightning strike within 8 miles. They have to postpone the play for about 30 minutes. Has been a magnet for storms this World Cup. I was thinking back to the Orlando friendly game with Costa Rica, and then just recently in Mexico City, 2 rain delays, notable.
Yeah, so it's good. I mean, we could see a mid-game delay.
That's worse. I think when it's delayed from the start, you get the whole game after that. But we saw in the Club World Cup, you play a half, then like 2 hours later, you've got to play another half.
Yeah, players have got to keep, players have got to do all their fitness work. They've got to go out and pick up the pace of the game. It doesn't help it as a spectacle. So let's hope it doesn't happen, Stephen.
I know, and this is the problem, because it's how confident. This is where weather people sometimes get a bad reputation, because I always am told you can still have a job and be wrong half the time, which whatever. I guess that's true. But the thing is, my confidence on rain is still less than 50%. Okay. There's a chance that these storms will stay away from Miami Stadium, and if that happens, then we'll be good. But if there's a lightning strike, you know how it goes. It will be close. Florida's a really tough state to forecast when you look at a specific time. And so 5, 6, 7 p.m., it looks like Miami might have some storms in the vicinity. I'll have more confidence tomorrow. Is that all right?
Oh, of course. Perfect. Yeah, we'll ask again. What about finally Boston tonight and Boston Stadium for France, Morocco, or in the afternoon, your time, of course?
Yeah. Easy. That game's going to be okay. A little warmer today in the Northeast and around Boston. We have temperatures that are going to be around 30, 31 degrees Celsius. It's going to feel a little bit warmer. So if anything, maybe warm, but not terrible.
Good stuff. We'll catch up with you tomorrow, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Paul and Andy.
There we are. Stephen Morgan there from Fox Weather in New York. That's our weather update. Thanks to QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
US football forecast on talkSPORT with QuickFit. Your car's star player you can always rely on this summer. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
He always looks so smart, doesn't he? I think we ought to put a shirt and tie on during that section.
Yeah. I mean, he's I suppose he's going on TV over there, isn't he? So I don't think he just dresses up like that for us. It's because he's on the telly as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Oliver Emery is an England fan, been travelling around watching games. He decided to go on a tour of the White House and ran into
what's left of it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if he saw some. That's where a hard hat in the ballroom area, if I can say ballroom area at this time of day. Oliver, hi.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah,
good. How are you?
So is the kind of tour of the White House a thing? Can anybody do it, or did you manage to sort of wheedle your way into one?
So I believe anyone can do a tour of the White House, which is the East Wing. But I was on a tour of the West Wing, where the president will do his business and go about daily business. And there was a lot of Secret Service, so I don't think anyone can go. I was fortunate enough to be invited by a member of the White House staff.
Wow. So,
how did that come about?
Yeah, is this an old contact, an old friend, or something?
Funny enough, it came about after meeting President Trump, which I was invited for the week before, and then someone from the White House was like, "Oh, thank you for coming. Do you want to tour the West Wing?" And it just came about from Instagram DMs. So I've been posting videos of my time in America whilst traveling for the World Cup, starting in Dallas, to Boston, etc. And these videos have just blown up and caught the White House's attention.
And so
photos
he wanted to meet you. We're looking at the pictures of you with him, shaking his hand there, big thumb. You got him doing the big thumbs up.
He didn't do that handshake thing to you where he doesn't let go for about half an hour.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Wow. Did he say much about the World Cup while you were chatting to him?
We had a very brief chat because it was just as the earthquake in Venezuela happened. So we were in that little room, and then all of a sudden he just got ushered away into his huge armored car But we did have a laugh and a joke, and he did mention England and Harry Kane at the World Cup.
That's great. Did you collect a piece of the reflecting pool on your way out?
Yeah.
No, that was all shut because of the fireworks, the fireworks display for the 4th.
And you didn't see how the ballroom was coming on. You didn't get a chance to go in there and have a look.
No, but I did see the crane. I would have loved to see the infamous ballroom.
Yeah. In some ways, it's a bit like Graceland when you see the White House. I imagine it being bigger than it actually is. Did you feel that when you see it from the roadside? I imagine something kind of a much bigger building.
Well, I was actually shocked with how small and narrow the hallways were, but I didn't get to see go in any big rooms. Like the Oval Office had velvet rope around it, so I could stick my head in. But I feel like you've got to be very special to be able to actually go inside. So I didn't get to see anything, but the hallways and everything else was a lot smaller because obviously it's quite an old government building.
We kind of know it from the walk and talks in the West Wing, the series, don't we? There was always everybody was getting out of each other's way. Can you put a call in about Gerald Quantz's? I mean, did you get a number from Donald while you were there? You haven't got. He does give out his mobile. Quite a lot of journalists. So I mean, you never know. He didn't get a number.
No, but it did make me laugh because I went on the day of the England-Mexico game, and it was very close to kickoff when I left. And I said, oh, no, I'm going to be late. And then halfway in the Uber, the kickoff was delayed, so I thought he'd put a call in specially for me, but I doubt it.
And are you going to the game at the weekend? You got a ticket for the match against Norway?
I think I'm going to have to miss out the Norway game just because the ticket prices are so expensive. But I've been fortunate enough to go to 3 of the games, but I'm currently in Texas and traveling across to Miami and then trying to get a match ticket. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'll definitely be watching.
Put a call into your mate.
Yeah, come on. There's somebody you can go and sit next to Infantino. Well, he won't want to go, Donald, will he? He won't want to go.
Show him the pictures of you and Donald.
Yeah. He'll love that. Any friend of Donald's is a friend of mine, I believe the phrase is for Gianni. So, so where can people follow you on social media and watch what you're up to?
At Oliver Henry on Twitter and oliver.henry.w on Instagram is where I've posted most of all my stuff and keeping everyone updated.
Well, good luck getting a ticket. Good to talk, Johnny. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Oliver Henry there, the England fan who managed to have a chat with the president and get a tour of the West Wing. Yeah, they are great photographs. You can go and check them out on all his socials. Adrian Durham, as far as I know, has not met the president yet. Are you all that? Would have been his opening phrase, I'm sure. And anyway, we'll have a chat with Adrian next in the build-up to the big game at the weekend and these quarterfinals. Eric Bilderman from a French point of view joining us, and Sam Matterface doing fine work on ITV. Of course, regularly commentates for us on talkSPORT and presents on Fridays. Will be joining us for a bit of a chat from the World Cup too. We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
Management inside out. Tuchel might just be the 1% difference.
He might well be, but what I'm saying
between winning it and not winning it.
I need to make this really clear. I am not questioning or doing him down. I'm trying to give you a balanced view of how I see management.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it yet. You only ever judged on what you end up winning, not whether you could have won it. Brendan Rodgers, apart from the slip, would have possibly, very nearly could have won the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they don't judge him on the fact that if he did win it, he did win it.
Until England do it.
That's all I'm saying. And I want him to win it. I want the country to win the
bottom line is this, and we will never know. If Tuchel had been in charge of England at Wembley that night, in the European final, against Italy, Might you have ended up winning
I was there,
it?
by the way. I was there. You know, you
He would have changed it. So Simon's point is right, is it not, Sean?
The whole world is watching. Even the most
you change it and you lose, right? You didn't know what
you
you're doing.
change
You change it and you win.
No,
you do know
you
what
make
you're
a decision.
That is the life.
No. You make a decision.
Well,
we all know you live and die by decisions. But when something's coming on top and the whole world's watching it and going, we need to change something. We need to change something. We need to change something. Okay, we haven't changed something. They've scored. Now we're going to change something. They've scored. Now it's easy to be a Monday night quarterback. We all know that, right? But the bottom line is that my inherent belief is the reasons why there's elite managers and there's the reason why there's good managers. Right?
None of us have ever had a bad game in here. Simple as that. A bad game.
So we're not football
when you're on the sidelines, and you're under pressure.
Oh, he's coming alive now, Mr. Dyke.
That's when the truth of it really is.
Tuchel will only be judged by when those moments come.
Yes.
They haven't come. They haven't come against Ghana.
Which is fair. That's exactly
but
fair.
When they do come, I'm willing to bet you that Tuchel's credentials and the elite gene that I think that he has, which is the reasons why he's managed PSG, Bayern Munich. Yeah, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. Of course, it's a bloody stupid.
I've got a ginger gene.
Well, you've got many genes, I suspect.
I have flat genes.
Ill-fitting ones, most of them, I suspect, yeah.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
The So Good moment of the day on talkSPORT with Meantime. talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create So Good Lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Yes, time now to look at today's So Good moment of the day with Meantime. Well, we haven't really got one, let's be honest, because there was your So Good moment was what were you watching last
Bake Off the Professionals.
Bake Off the Professionals, and that doesn't really fit.
Not really.
But thankfully on hand, doing sterling work out in the States for us here on talkSPORT, Adrian Durham is here, and we're going to get his moment of the tournament. Hi, Aid.
That's good.
Hiya, how you doing?
Yeah, we're not so bad. We're not.
Oh, you're
so
looking
bad.
very exotic, Adrian.
Yeah, what a beautiful backdrop. Look at that, fantastic. So, what is your moment of the tournament, Adrian?
Well, there's obviously been many. I personally think it's been a great World Cup. We're in the process of having the best World Cup ever. So let's see how it goes between quarterfinals and the final itself. But there's been a lot of moments. From a personal point of view, I think the full-time whistle in the Azteca was an incredible moment. I actually did shed a tear, I don't mind saying. It was very, very emotional to witness the England players doing what they did to keep the ball out of the net and win the game and go through at such a venue. So that was a big personal moment. But I think in terms of the World Cup overall, I think my moment has to be Sidney Cabral's wonder goal for Cape Verde to make it 2-2 against Argentina. Here in Miami, actually. We were at the game, and it really was a stunning moment. We were right behind the goal as well. And so it's the perfect hit. It's a magnificent goal, as you know. But I think it was the shock within the stadium. You know, when something happens and really wasn't expected, the whole stadium seemed to stop, then gasp, and then cheer and applaud. It really was a special moment. So I'd have to pick that. It's the underdog against the champions as well. So there was everything to love about that goal. So that would be my moment.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thank you for that. Now, the rules have changed around yellow cards, and we can't get another Gaza against Germany in the semi-final in Italia 90 anymore, so players are not going to miss finals unless they're red-carded. But we've got 17 players on yellows, and 4 pretty key ones from an England point of view, certainly with our issues at fullback. So we talked to Alan Pardew about it earlier on. He said even as a manager back in the day, he said he would say to his boys in those situations, if they were looking at a ban, just don't get silly ones. No back chat, no silly pushes, none of that sort of stuff. If something happens in a tackle, that can always happen, but don't get a daft yellow.
No, I think that's got to be the mantra. I think the other, and that's an obvious thing, if you get a silly one, nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. I think the other thing is, if you get a really unlucky, harsh yellow card, then don't worry, because what we'll do is a trade deal with Trump. He'll sort it out with Infantino, and you'll get away with it. So it won't be a problem at all. In all seriousness, I think that it could be a big problem if a key player gets booked. In fact, we were talking about this with Stuart Pearce yesterday, because Declan Rice trained on his own away from the group yesterday with a couple of others, Reece James and Mark Gahey. But Declan Rice is on a yellow card, got booked in the first minute in the Azteca. And by the way, what a job he did to go the rest of the game without getting a booking in an incredibly competitive game as well, ending up on the winning side with 10 men. So full applause to Declan Rice for that. But he is on that yellow. So if he's not 100% fit, which it looks like he isn't, then you've got to make a judgment on, is it worth risking him? And if he breaks down, is it worth risking him if he gets a yellow and then is missing for a semi-final should England get through? Or do you leave him out and then risk not winning the quarter-final? It was a bit of a dilemma. Stuart seemed to be on the side of, he's got a yellow card. It depends on the level of fitness. Just say he's 60% fit. Do you risk him and therefore risk breaking him down? No, just leave him out for the quarter-final. I can't subscribe to that. I think you've got to play your best team. And I think
you've got to win the
60
game.
or 70% fit Declan Rice is absolutely, there's no point having regrets. Oh, we should have put Declan in when you've lost 3-0 to an Erling Haaland hat-trick.
Our relatively youthful producer, Sean, we gave him a history lesson earlier on. He said, if it's going well and we're 2-0 up, say, and they haven't picked up a yellow card, maybe take off Jude and Declan, and you're thinking, let's take you back to 1970. Sir Alf Ramsey thought he would rest in the game against West Germany. He thought he would rest. So Bobby Charlton and Martin Peters for the semi-final with England 2-0 up. And I think we all know what happened next. So we put that one to bed, Aid.
Yeah, and rightly so as well, and we'll forgive Sean. He actually, when I met him, he told me he was a QPR fan. It was a big lie. He was an Arsenal fan. He was just scared to tell me he was an Arsenal fan. And
I didn't know that.
It's true. every time we talk, we start the conversation with "you ours," so it's become a big joke for us. But yeah, you're right to point that out. Right to point that out. And actually, I've got a lovely story. Well, it's not a lovely story. It's just an incredible story from the 1970s. That was the game where Gordon Banks was sick and ill and couldn't get off his toilet, never mind out of his hotel room. And actually, Alf Ramsey didn't know too much about this. So when he got on the bus, and it was a long bus journey they had to undertake to get to the game, when he got on the bus, Alf Ramsey, the doctor came in and told him he's not making it. Gordon Banks isn't going to make it today. Alf Ramsey looked back at the rest of the bus and all the players there. The first keeper he saw was Bonetti, and of course, it didn't go to plan for Peter Bonetti. We all know that. But actually, Alex Stepney was there as well. European champion with Man United, a champion of the English First Division with Manchester United. And I think most people thought Alex would get the nod, but it was Peter Bonetti he saw first. So the story goes, Bonetti got the nod when it should have been Stepney. But who knows whether that would have made a difference.
So sitting nearer the front of the coach, was England's fate was in that. If Alex had been sitting in front of Peter Bonetti, he would have played in goal.
If Peter Bonetti had been on the back seat messing around with the others, then England would have won another World Cup.
Making faces at the car behind like you did when you went to swimming at school. Various hand signals.
Pulling Moonies.
Yeah. Carl Walker, let's hear from him. I know he joined you and Stuart and Jim on Kickoff last night. He was saying, and I think we all should agree with this, I think we've all forgotten, really, what the last man did. He thinks Sir Gareth deserves a lot of credit for what he did with the England team.
With Gareth, I think he probably got the nation to fall back in love with football. With what we did with Russia, with trying to bring, obviously, the media on board and everything like that, and just changing the philosophy or how people will see this England team. I think Gareth started this journey. Now, obviously, there's a lot of us that aren't there anymore that was doing that back in Russia, but there's still key players in that, and John, Harry Kane, Jordan Pickford, Jordan Henderson. These are all key parts of keeping the unit together.
Yep, totally agree with that.
I totally agree with that. I can't believe some of the
people have been
stuff
too
about
ready to forget his impact and his contribution, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate that so many comparisons are being made. Look, what happened, and after such a long time and putting so much into the job, Sir Gareth thought, well, it's time to just step away from it and let somebody else have a go. And who knows? It could work out brilliantly, or England could go out to Norway in the quarterfinals. We don't know what's going to happen yet. There's been some good moments under Tuchel, but even at this World Cup, there's been some moments when we thought, what on earth is going on? We'll remember the Ghana game and how difficult it was to break down Panama. But I think that he's hit the nail on the head there, Carl Walker. He said something really important, and that is where we were after Sam Allardyce's one-game reign, and before that, Roy Hodgson having Harry Kane taking corners and the humiliation to Iceland in 2016 at the Euros. Gareth Southgate took us from that to loving the England national side again. So there were a lot of criticisms, and some of them very valid, of Gareth Southgate's run. And it was all based on, we've got these great players, we should be winning tournaments. I could never subscribe to that because, as you guys know, the history of the England national team is not about winning tournaments. It's not even about going deep in tournaments.
No.
In the 70s when we didn't even qualify. In the 80s when at some tournaments we were absolutely useless. 90s we came close. But then beyond that, there's been abject failure at World Cups. So we do owe Gareth Southgate a massive thank you. And in many ways, I hope we win the World Cup. But part of that will be about Gareth Southgate and what he left for us. I also think that opening game for England at this tournament when we beat Croatia 4-2, just before kickoff in that game, I did a little monologue on Gareth Southgate and what we owed him. And I just thought it was the right time to do that. Before a World Cup without him, after what he'd done in the previous 8 years, just thought it was right to give a big nod, a doff of the cap, to the man who's got us in this position.
Absolutely.
And finally, Adrian, for me, are you concerned that it's Norway, that it's so often a 1-1, it's so often difficult playing these Northern European, Scandinavian teams?
I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to relax enough here in Miami before the game. It's not the right setting for it, to be honest. Very stressful. No, it's beautiful here. Am I concerned? Yeah, of course. I mean, they've got a goalkeeper who's playing out of his skin. They've got some very good players beyond Erling Haaland as well, and they've played really well. They've been competitive. There's a freedom. There's a connection with the fans that is taking them along this journey. Yeah, very concerned. And this is England, who can play brilliantly, can play badly, can play as a team, but it could all fall apart as well. That's the history that we're looking at. So, yeah, I am concerned about it. Haaland's always going to score goals, so we're just going to have to outscore the opposition.
Indeed. Good stuff, Aid. We'll catch up with you soon. If we don't speak before the game, enjoy. We'll speak to you next week. Thanks very much.
You odds. Love you guys.
Adrian Durham there doing brilliant work with our team at the World Cup, and he'll be your host for the big game against Norway on Saturday night. Now, if you're in the Midlands and you can't get to the game or afford a ticket in Miami, no better place to watch it than the talkSPORT Fan Zone at the SI Warehouse Villa Park. Hosted by talkSPORT and Villa legend Gabby Agbonlahor. Tickets are now on sale, which includes a free pint. I don't know if he invited Professor Brian Cox when he was on breakfast with him and Jeff today. That'd be interesting. So don't miss out. Head to talksport.com/fanzone now to secure yours. That's talksport.com/fanzone. We'll get some news headlines. We'll set the scene at Wimbledon with Lisa O'Sullivan for the day. Sam Matterface will join us for a chat, and our French football expert Eric Bilderman will join us to preview tonight's opening quarter-final against Morocco. And that, again, is live on talkSPORT from 9.
The so good moment of the day on talkSPORT with Meantime. talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create so good lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
I can't believe they're moaning about losing.
No, you're right.
They're moaning about the decisions, and I've seen all the interviews after the game.
Right.
And like, can someone remind them that they were winning 2-0? Like, you've only got yourself...
What is their? I mean, the goal that wasn't given, and it was at 1-0 at the time. What an unbelievable goal! It was one of the best goals you'll see in the World Cup. Team goal down that right hand side, and I think who was it that was fouled? Was it Martinez that was fouled? I can't remember.
It was over in the far corner.
It was in the far corner. Anyway, whoever it was, right? He does step on his toes.
Do you think you should go back to it?
I think the fact that Argentina didn't actually regain possession of the ball and it was a continuous attack, I think on that occasion, I think it's fair. I think it's a foul.
I know, but like so much has to happen.
Yeah, but
still so much has to happen. He skipped past 3 Argentina players. Like
nutmegged
one of them, and you kind of look at it and go, hold on a minute, right? All right, that is a foul over in the corner, but he's run the length of the pitch, skipped past 3 Argentina players who can't make a tackle, and then they put one across the box and they score, and you go, hold on a minute, you've had 3 opportunities to win the ball back.
Yeah, they have. It was poor.
So how much advantage do you want?
Well, there's no law.
Maybe if you skip 1 tackle, he's run the length of the pitch. Yeah, come on. I don't
hear
know how that's fair.
Do you know what?
I have got an issue with it.
Do you know what? I absolutely hear you loud and clear, but we both agree it's a foul.
Yeah, okay, but then Argentina might as well just stop playing.
Yeah, well, you can't because the foul's not given.
I know, but if they believe it's a foul and the VAR are going to go all the way back to it, Argentina might as well just stop and go, can't score, it don't matter because it's going to go back. He's gone past 3 players.
Unbelievable run. That's one of the best goals that's never going to stand in the World Cup. Can't think of any more.
Iconic. There's no other word. An 18-karat gold trophy that owns the world, and it waits. It waits for 4 years. It's 1971, and FIFA need a new trophy to replace the Jules Rimet, so they launch a worldwide design competition. And in his studio in Milan, 50-year-old sculptor Silvio Gazzaniga immediately gets to work. But instead of sending FIFA a picture, he goes further and makes a prototype they can hold. It works. FIFA choose his design over 52 others, and perhaps the most beautiful piece of silverware or goldenware enters the beautiful game. Let's let the artist himself describe it. Gazzaniga said the idea was to create something symbolising exertion, dynamism, and the jubilation of an athlete in the moment of victory, with all the joy that contains. The malachite rings in the base fitted the sculpture well because it's green like a football field, and it's also a precious stone. The first captain to lift the trophy was Franz Beckenbauer in 1974, and of course, it's only the greatest who get their hands on it. Zoff, Matthias paved the way for the modern-day heroes who dreamt of lifting Gazzaniga's masterpiece. But there was something about this man holding it that seemed to deliver everything the sculptor had imagined. Were I to ever redo it, the artist once said, I wouldn't change a thing.
Everybody's here to see the stars come out to play.
Rahimi! There it is! To settle it, sends Morocco through to the quarterfinals.
They've been improving for years now, and it's no surprise that the last World Cup they reached the semi-final.
I think teams watching this will look at Morocco and think, I don't really want to play them.
Mbappe stutters right-footed and scores! Gil goes the wrong way!
Whoever beats them wins the World Cup, but unfortunately I don't think there's a team that's going to beat them.
Olise slipped it through. They're in here, and it's Mbappe again. Magnificent!
France fans jumping up and down excitedly in the stand away to our left, but the game is not over yet.
Another statement from France that is loud and clear.
Well, we were chatting earlier on to Alistair Howarth, our African football expert, and he wasn't expecting the sort of performance that Paraguay put in against France ahead of tonight's game live on talkSPORT. But he was expecting them to clog the midfield and try and starve the French players of the ball and to make it difficult for them. Understandably, he doesn't see a big toe-to-toe open game of football.
That Paraguay game would have been a completely different game if somebody like Michael Oliver had been refereeing. That referee was so hopeless.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that. Eric Bilderman joins us now, French football expert ahead of the match. Hi, Eric.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, again, are you expecting another game where they try to frustrate France, but in a different way, obviously, to Paraguay, which was broadly just intimidation?
Yeah, I think Morocco is a positive football team with the new manager compared to 2020. They have changed the philosophy or the way of playing. They are really pushing forward. They are really trying to win games before not to lose games. So we do expect a more open field game where maybe in the midfield the decision will be made. And we might, with only two midfield player, Kone, and I forgot his first, the other name. Yes, I just lose my mind.
Not Tchouaméni, no.
Help me.
Tchouaméni? No?
Yeah, Tchouaméni is injured. Injured.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'll come back to it. People are shouting at their radios, I'm sure.
Yeah. I will come back with the name. Sorry, I'm sorry for that. So the question mark is that we do have two defensive midfield, and they will maybe struggle in such a game against the Moroccan, because they know that the weakness of France might be to isolate our four offensive players from clear and fine balls, and from that the midfield situation might be crucial for that game.
Rabiot, I guess you were thinking of.
Yeah, Rabiot, yes.
Rabiot's had a good
World Cup. For my old brain.
We all have moments like that.
He's surprised me, Rabiot. I think he's been absolutely brilliant.
I think Rabiot, again, this French team has played, I think we may have mentioned this before, but Rabiot has had a very good World Cup, hasn't he? He can be a player that can drift in and out of games, but he has been very good so far.
Yeah, he has been very good, and we know also that he's a strong-minded player. He's one of the players, when the team is struggling, that can really give statements, that can talk to the other players, that can lead by example. We have seen it in Marseille, even before to be sacked from Marseille and to be on a transfer to AC Milan, because he was too much on the dressing room and on the field, too much demanding to his teammates. So for such a World Cup, we need strong players like that. Is working from defense to offensive situation. He is a ball provider and a ball winner, but also, as I say, a very strong-minded guy.
Now, Eric, outside of France, everyone assumes that France are going to win it. I mean, everybody thinks they will. What about inside the country? Do they share that confidence?
Yeah, I think we are quite confident, because we do believe that this team of Morocco is more a team which tactically might suit the French. It might be a game with several goals compared to the 2022 semi-final. So if we don't lose the game in the midfield, we do feel that our offensive squad will make the difference. Also, Saïd Barry from Bayern Munich, the Moroccan player, is injured. We have out of Tchouaméni, but Kone is the same level. We don't have injury problem. What we have learned from Paraguay is that when it's a hardcore game, we do the job and we can be patient and not to go to provocation. And when it's an open field game, we know that we can have space and we can show entertaining football. So I think Morocco will be a kind of mixture. It will be tense. I think more aggressive football that we have seen except Paraguay, but less negative football that we have seen with Paraguay.
And finally, Eric, we're sad that we missed out on Michael Elise. He could have played for England but chose to play for France. I mean, maybe the equivalent from a French point of view is Ayo Bouadi, who played for France under 21s, captained the side, could have played for France, chose to play for Morocco. He's been linked to a move to Manchester City from Lille, but he won't be cheap. But he's been fantastic this tournament, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a great player. Of course, we have seen that in the last 15 years, most of the French-born, Moroccan, Algerian, or Tunisian, they do now, after playing with the under-21 of France, they like to go to play for their roots country. So it's not a big surprise. Of course, we have Cherki, we have at Benzema, we have dozen examples, but more and more we do lose jewels. The chance that we do have is that we have so many jewels in our pockets that when we lose Bouadi, we went look at the players of the first 11 to France. Most of them might have been able to choose another country. They have decided to go for France. So we have, in the suburb of Paris with 15 million inhabitants, it's incredible. The grassroots footballs brings hundreds of world-class or even international class players.
Enjoy the game, Eric. Good to talk to you as always. Thank you.
Thank you to Rabiot also.
Yes, indeed. It happens. Just name goes out of your head. Yeah. Eric Bilderman, French football expert. The game live tonight. Natalie Sawyer.
Should have gone Eric.
Yes, commentary from Joe Shannon and Mark McGee. Natalie Sawyer, your host for France Morocco, 9 o'clock kickoff tonight. We're going to have a chat with Sam Matterface very shortly, doing great work for ITV. He is, of course, a regularly commentator for us during the Premier League season and a presenter on Fridays with Crookie in the mid-morning show. But we're going to check in with Lisa O'Sullivan. Play doesn't get underway till 1:30. It's women's semi-finals day. That's on the main courts. But we've just been watching Alfie Hewitt, Lisa, the evergreen Alfie Hewitt, who came through in the wheelchair tennis.
Since the singles actually started happening here at the All England Club. And we've got the pioneer of wheelchair tennis here as well, Brad Parks, who invented it 50 years ago. He has been in the Royal Box and is really much enjoying the brilliant play. Alfie Hewitt, he's got a really big, tough competition because it's Tokita Oda who is always the one to beat. But it's really great to watch the skills it requires to hold a tennis racket and manipulate a wheelchair so brilliantly. It is the women's semi-finals day, as you mentioned, though. Karolina Muchova against Coco Gauff, Linda Noskova against Marta Kostyuk. And the first time we've had all 4 players into their first Wimbledon semi-final in the Open era. Will we have a Czech champion for a third time in 4 years? We've got an American and a Ukrainian. Coco Gauff has got better as it's gone on. She's played her way into the tournament. Frankly, poor in her last match in the first set, but so good she has booked her way into the last 4. And Karolina Muchova, I think, may be the one to beat, even though she's got her own battles to fight at the All England Club, because she's allergic to grass. She says she has pills, lots of pills, sprays and eye drops, but she is very much the one to beat. And Linda Noskova, the youngest of the 4 remaining, very much finding the sweet spot in her grass court game. She's had 10 wins in her last 11 matches.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lisa. That's going to get underway. All those women's semi-finals at 1:30.
I don't know if Lisa's had lunch, but she could go for the £467 Wimbledon meal at the Great British Menu.
I don't think the X's here at talkSPORT will stretch to that. As we saw with Mark McGee yesterday, Waffle House is about our mark. The Off-Court podcast with Greg Rosetsky is available now. Sits down with the tennis mentor Ashley Neves to unpack a wild week at Wimbledon. And they'll have a chat about Arthur Ferry. Can he do the unthinkable and get through to the final? It is a great story. So go and check it out. Off-Court with Greg Rosetsky, available now with your favourite podcast provider. So, Sam Matterface joining us for a chat, and then we'll be handing over to Jim and Simon for another busy afternoon show. So stick around. We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse, and you can check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
I think you're underestimating Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, you can look at the figures and say, yeah, not brilliantly impressive, but every Newcastle fan will tell you he's the heartbeat of their team.
Yeah, that's Newcastle, though, Jeff. Jeff, we're not Newcastle United.
Oh,
right?
Joe, don't be arrogant. Do not be arrogant, pal.
What do you mean not be arrogant? We're Premier League champions.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I don't want him at the club.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
Premier
saying
League champions
that I don't
now.
want him to be,
You're Premier League champions now. Let's come on in 12 months' time and find out if you're going to say the same thing if you're not Premier League champions then.
Jeff, of course we're Premier League champions. We just won it a few months ago. Come on, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to give us a bit of time. What I'm saying is, good player, but I don't want him to be the marquee signing. If he is the marquee signing, I'm going to be upset.
Well, I tell you what, Joe, shouldn't you be worried? You're talking about marquee signings. Aren't you concerned about financial fair play? Or the equivalent of as it is now? And you busting the rules.
Get rid of everyone you need to get rid of to make it happen. Because if you're spending 60 mil on a player, then that means people need to go as well, right? Get rid of, we've just spoken about Norgard. If you don't like him, get rid of
Trossard,
him.
Gabriel Jesus.
We're hearing Trossard. Get rid of all of them. You know, to be fair, I do like Trossard. And if it was up to me, I'd get rid of Martinelli instead. But get rid of who you need to get rid of. Then we can start talking business. But this better not be the marquee signing.
I do the marquee signing, but I agree that Arsenal need a left winger. Do you know what I mean? Don't spend 80 million on Guimaraes and then you can't afford to go and buy, like, if Barcola's available, for instance, Joel, and he's worth 100. You know, you need a top left winger, don't you, on that side?
100%. And that's what I want to see. I want to see someone. Look, the reality is if Marcus Rashford was available at a good price, I would probably go for him. As long as, you know, it doesn't unbalance the team, because he's a great...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, and we finished today chatting to a man that commentates for us, of course, throughout the season, and is alongside Crookie and Gab on Fridays for the mid-morning show. But he's out there. He's out there working this show. Yeah, he's out there working for ITV. Of course, it is Sam Matterface. Hi, Sam.
A very good. Is it morning to you still? I don't know. It's definitely morning here. The sun's very much just come up here in Miami. And it's sweltering hot. I'll tell you what, if it's already sweltering hot at 7:45 in the morning, imagine what it's going to be like at 5 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting that though, Sam. The heat hasn't been as big a factor as I thought it might be. It hasn't really affected the quality of the games or the speed of the games. What do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I tell you what, England have been very lucky in that regard, especially when it comes to the first couple of games. Of course, they were indoors in Dallas. When they got to Boston, it was pretty cool and calm, really. And when they were in New York for the Panama game, it rained. So the two areas where I thought that maybe they would have a problem with the heat, the weather just conspired to benefit them, really. Obviously, back indoors in Atlanta, very different in Mexico City, where, of course, it was very, very windy and rainy, but the temperature was very low. But it's going to be a very different factor here. It is going to contribute to the spectacle that we see, no doubt. I mean, I'm here now, and you can feel the humidity just sitting here in the shade, miles from where the sunshine's sort of burning brightly on the trees behind me. It is very, very hot. And I mean, that's not an excuse or whatever. But the only game I actually saw it, Andy, I was in New York on Sunday for Brazil versus Norway. And that ended up second half being a very slow game. The humidity was high there. It was very warm second 45, and it really slowed down. And I noticed that the quality dipped in that match because of the heat, I think.
Now, you obviously know who's going to get the main commentary between ITV and BBC for the group games. That's all mapped out and you know it. But as we get into the knockouts, does the head of sport come and tap you on the shoulder and say, it's you and Lee, you've got the gig? How'd you find out?
Yeah, sort of a bit like that. So when you get to the group stages, it's all to do with picks. So each company picks the next round of games. They might have the first pick or the second pick. Obviously, England, if they're through to the knockout stages, are the first pick. So if you've got the first pick, you're likely to get that game. But yeah, we get a phone call saying, right, okay, you're going off to this one, or if this result happens, you're going off there. We did have a scenario where earlier in the tournament, we were sitting around after we'd finished, I think it was England-Panama. That was the last day of the group games. We were sitting around, Lee and I, and our producer Ollie was sitting at the top of a bar, having a little chat. Everyone's in good spirits. All of a sudden, the text message comes through. You need to get back to your hotel. You're leaving at 8 o'clock tomorrow. You're going to Houston. We were like, what? We didn't see that coming. So there was a bit. Sometimes you do get a little surprise. Sometimes it's a really good surprise. And actually, that trip ended up sending us to Brazil versus Japan, which is a brilliant, brilliant game. Yeah. But there's certain times where you think you're going somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're going somewhere else, and it's been brilliant. I mean, we've been so lucky to go to so many cities. In fact, we reckon we've covered pretty much every venue in the United States, apart from Kansas and Boston, which is quite something, really, bearing in mind the vast nature of the country. We've seen every time zone. We've never stayed in one time zone for longer than 3 days. It's been brilliant. It's been absolutely superb.
We did have a bit of fun after one of the games you did in Atlanta. You said
it was funny.
You did a Gone with the Wind reference to Lee that went right over his head. You said something like, it wasn't the best goal they've ever scored, but frankly, they won't give a damn, Lee. And he you could tell him, look, he said, no, they won't, Sam. So we had the listeners come up with other film references Lee wouldn't get. So, things like, you talking to me? And he said, well, of course I am, Sam. I'm your co-commentator. And you can't handle the truth. I just love that little pause where Lee thinking, why has he suddenly said that out of absolutely nowhere?
Do you know what? That was so funny because I said it, and I tried to say it in a sort of casual way, and he was watching something else. And actually, what he was doing, he was thinking there was a substitute at the same time. I think it was it was Spain versus Cape Verde, if I'm not mistaken, and there was a substitution, and he was writing down a substitution, and he just wasn't listening. And then after the game, we were walking through the stadium because it was Atlanta. And we were walking down into the bowels of the stadium, and I said to him, "You didn't even get my Gone with the Wind reference, did you?" And he went, "What? What Gone with the Wind reference?"
Brilliant.
We got some very good ones that day. It really flew as a bit of a cool topic. So just finally,
fantastic.
We're nearly out of time. They're going to kick us off. How are you feeling about the weekend from an England point of view? You've watched all the games unfold. You feeling confident?
Oh, they were brilliant against Mexico. And I think that's such a galvanising experience, isn't it? You know, to go down to 10 men, to have everything go against you almost, yet still come through it in the manner in which they did. That was brilliant. Thomas Tuchel has talked, and we've been out here since the beginning of June. And every time we've spoken to him, he's always sort of mentioned and referenced this brotherhood idea, this idea of everybody sort of fighting for each other. We're not going to win it with the best players, he said, but we are going to win it with the best team. And I think you sort of saw the materialisation of all those efforts on Sunday night, Monday morning, your time. They're going to need that again. They've got to find a way to stop Erling Haaland. I think they're a better team than Norway, but Norway do have dangers that they've already proved in this tournament. I feel that England will go through, and I'm very positive about that. But they need to make sure they've recovered properly from what was a taxing night on Sunday, and they need to get their approach absolutely spot on in this heat.
Brilliant, Sam. We'll let you get back in the air.
Have a great game.
All the best.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Sam Matterface there already in Miami. That game live, of course, on Saturday evening here on talkSPORT with Jim, Stuart, Adrian and Faye. And we'll be catching up, I'm sure, one of our team out there tomorrow, along with Steve Bruce and Stan Collymore, who's going to be in the stadium as an England fan, as he always is. And we'll have some clips of the week. So lots to come tomorrow. Do hope you can join us from 10. And, enjoy the rest of the day. Jim and Simon up next. And don't forget, France-Morocco, big game tonight, live on talkSPORT at 9 o'clock.
Before I get on to Norway, I have to ask you, because I've seen so many stills, amazing photographs that you are going to have to get framed and put at home. But that moment where Raul Jimenez was going for his overhead kick and you put your head in, there's a brilliant moment in commentary between Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce where Jim said he almost got his teeth kicked out there. And Stu said something